Hello, everyone. I hope all of you are doing well today. I'm doing okay. It's been, I got my COVID shot last night, which is, I always have a achy reaction to vaccines, but otherwise doing all right. If you aren't aware, and not a lot of people necessarily are, the requirements for vaccines have changed, we'll say, significantly. One sec, adjusting the camera. A little bit better focus. Maybe I need to raise the camera up. We'll drop me down a little bit, though. That's fine. To the point where if you go and you say, hey, I'm here for my COVID shot, which you used to just do. You used to just walk in. They ask you if you have other things. Luckily, I say I'm an ex-smoker with lung issues. So off I go. So it works out in the end. But it's a weird, frustrating thing to sort of watch as people are actively being turned away while we're getting ours because they don't have another, like, you can't just get it. Hey, I don't want to get COVID significantly because I don't want my kids to get it. And there's no child thing because, again, RFK, who may go down in history as a great monster of our time, has made sure that there's never going to be a child version of this. And I don't really want my kids to get super, super sick. So that's not good enough reason, though. That's tough. My sister had to have her doctor say she's obese, even though she's 150 pounds. Yeah, it's that kind of shit where it's like, and you can't get I did get the new version. I got the new Moderna. But yeah, it's a whole thing. George, glad to hear I'm doing fine, working on stuff for economics professor I'm interning with. Hoping I can get, excellent. I'm glad everyone's doing okay. I put out a video yesterday morning. I was up all night editing it the night before. It's not as strong in parts as I wanted, but it got, I think, the majority of the points across. And boy, it upset a few people. We're going to actually read through some comments because it's fun. A live stream, I don't have to wait 30 minutes. Eventually I'll have all of the cool intros and mimetic in-group songs like the monkey dance or the surprise song that Sunday has. I don't have, never doing any of that shit. The new video was good. No, I'm happy with it. I'm nitpicking myself, but boy, it upset a few people. And I actually had people coming into the QC wanting to fight me, which is fun. So we're going to talk a little bit about that stuff today. And I want to talk about a child story first. It's one, and I'm sure Suresh is watching, but do you know the story of the Emperor's New Clothes? Do you know the story? A lot of people know the story, but they don't know the story. It goes back like, I think at this point, 1,500 years and older. It's one of the very, very oldest, I'm going to say Eastern as a Westerner. It's very old, but it comes from sort of Eastern tradition of storytelling. And the story goes, the first time around, and it's kind of the same jam over and over, tailor comes in, it's the best tailor in the land, apparently, who convinces the king that he has the finest threads. He says, I have a thread I can make your outfit with, and it will show that you have nobility. Only people who have nobility can see it. You'll be able to laugh at everyone who doesn't have nobility. So, of course, he excitedly says, absolutely. Versions of this are also that only people who aren't bastards can see it. Basically, it will prove your worth as king. That's the idea. It was originally sort of written to be about the obsession kings have with showing that they are descendants properly, that they're not bastards, that their lineage is correct. This paranoiac reaction, this is what the story was originally for, the paranoiac reaction of it. And this comes through in a lot of different ways to modern day, but that thing that happens, and the story goes, if you don't know, that he actually makes nothing. He sells the king nothing, but puts it on the king, and everyone is saying that it's the finest thing that's ever happened, it's ever been.
Yog Sothoth super chatted $30. I just purchased Eugene Holland and Ian Buchanan's Our Guides. I know you said not to do this, but I thought it would help me understand WTF Our is saying because I'm an idiot.
So first off, I don't think I ever said not to buy the guides. I tend to say the guide should not be the thing you read. You should be reading AO. I'm not a fan of Buchanan's reading. It's not a bad book. Like, again, no secondary sources or readings on AO are like horrifying, except for YouTube videos generally, including my own. Don't watch me. I'm terrible. Holland is a magnificent writer. And I would argue that he makes maybe one of the better books on it that is a secondary source. I would highly recommend Holland's. So, yeah, do that. And thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's very, very kind of you. With the emperor then naked goes out in front of everyone and looks the fool. And that's the joke. The scammer gets away. Thoughts on Robert Altman films? I don't even know. 1 second. MX. See, I love learning. Like, 'cause it's like MX. What is MX? Sorry. It's like, it's pesos. Wait, why doesn't it say pesos? Mexican peso? Why doesn't it say pesos? Why does it say Mexican $20? That's not the term anyone uses. I don't think so. But Sanford, I'll get to Robert Altman. I'm going to finish this point. We'll get to some Robert Altman conversations. For some reason, I'll make sure I do that. But thank you for the pesos. Thank you for the pesos. Because there are Filipino, but I know there are Filipino pesos too, but it's like, then you have the MX dollar, MX peso. Do they do that for the dollar sign is not the symbol in Mexico for peso, is it? Or am I stupid on that? Sorry, I'm just very fascinated by how these things work. Because it's the dollar. Other countries, they have various symbols. Like if someone, I don't think you can do one, but there are other symbols that it pops in for things. It's not always just dollars. Oh, dollar is the symbol for pesos. Interesting. Fascinating. Fair. That's fascinating. It's one of the great regrets of my life. I haven't been to Mexico. I've been everywhere in the world. I've traveled everywhere, and I have not been able to go to Mexico. Just haven't happened to have a reason or travel or time or anything. And I've been dying to go to Baja, dying to go to, so many archaeological sites and museums and art museums that are filled with shit I love. And it's just never worked out. It sucks. I haven't been to Japan. Like, I've been to China a dozen times. I've spent more time in China than I have in a lot of places. Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Korea, just never Japan. It's like very... Anyway. So this story goes like that. The story changes over time, but tends to be generally along the same setup. That, hey, the people who are pure of heart or nobility or that are special in some form, this thing that no one can actually see, you should lie and say that you see it so you can be seen as a better person. This comes to mind a lot when it comes to the dark money conversation for me, because what is the evil of dark money? What is the thing that's wrong with it? I do think it's evil. I think it's bad. I think it's horrifying that we have dark money in our setup. I think it's corrupting across the board. But the corrupting influence is not on who's paid and having their minds changed. Studies have shown, like longitudinal 20-year, 30-year, 40-year studies, because this was happening and beginning to happen in the 80s. Academics began studying it then, the actual effect of political speech. And there's two kinds of capture that they talk about. Choice or selection capture, I think is the term they use, and persuasion capture. These are the two ways that they began to sort of talk about how money affects people. Because a ton of money going in affects you either by persuading you to change your mind, or by selecting people who already believe in the thing and amplifying that voice. There's no reason to believe, none in any of these studies at all, that money corrupts a person over time and actually changes their mind on a thing. That someone who was pro-Zionist one day would be anti-Zionist tomorrow if you give them a large enough check. This doesn't happen. This doesn't happen across the board. This doesn't happen all the way to the end point. Studies show that when you do advertisements politically, people have their minds edged. They're persuaded, persuasive capture. They're persuaded slightly over time, and it diminishes drastically within days. Within days, it diminishes. That's why I ride up against you see elections the same day and all of that. Because people, after they forget that they've seen a thing, they go back to believing what they believed. What happened to this fucking entire thing? I'm going to shrink this and we're just going to move it in the corner. I'm not going to deal with it today. There's no such thing as persuasion. That not long term. Instead, dark money is problematic for the same reason money in politics is problematic. Its selection ability is the same as everyone else's. If you have, and everyone has the ability to only donate $1,000, you'd end up in a position where the thing that most people want to be donated to is the one that's the most powerful voice. In a democracy where there's no money, everyone's vote puts whoever everyone wanted in power. This is representational democracy 101. This is how money works in that way. This is the idea of voting with your wallet. When we talk about who are the most popular soda companies in the world, the first thing people talk about is that, oh, well, this is because that's where people vote with their wallet. If they didn't want that, they wouldn't vote with their wallet. As if voting, which is 1-to-1 in a democracy, no one gets 2 votes, everyone gets 1 vote, is the same as wallet voting, which is not, because people get many votes or no votes or 1 vote, and we have no idea. This is selection biases that is given to us by dark money. This is actually what the problem with dark money is. That it's the reason that it's been pushed against forever. It has nothing to do with, oh my God, if there's a bunch of money in politics, suddenly everyone will just change their mind and do what money wants. No, not at all. Quite the opposite. In fact, what happens is the politicians who are from the beginning in line with that thing go in that direction because they were already in that direction. I made the point in the video yesterday, and again, I would say, do you want to have discourse about whether or not an authentic Nazi like Stephen Miller is better than a pay-for-play Nazi, a whore Nazi? Whore Nazi dialogue is what I'm whore Nazi discourse, new thing. Like Don Jr. I don't even think he's there because of money. Sure. Does he believe in any of it? No, we actually don't hear him, but he's supporting it because he's financially doing it because that's his primary thing. Do you think he's changed drastically because of this? Do you think, because there's so much money to be made in these ways, does it matter to him? No. He already was there. People don't change like that. We like to think that, and it feels good to think that for a lot of people because we like to think that we could have our opinions changed. We can't. You're not going to change your opinion. If you thought I was an asshole for this video, you're going to think I'm an asshole regardless. Very few people are going to go, oh, wow, I'm completely, one video changed my mind. You might change your mind for a few days, and then off you go back where you were. The vast majority of people are set and created by not ideas, not by mental thoughts they have, not by the decisions they've made. People are made by, do you want to say it with me, everyone? Their material conditions. That's right. That's people are produced. We are the production into the production line. We are the product of everything. We are the material end point of the material conditions. And we think as we do. Great. We don't think as we do because to be there. We don't magically have a fount that is not built of all of this. You are what you are because you're produced the way you are. So are we all. Where we go when we go all, right? QAnon people. Like, we're produced by the system. Poor people who are hustling and wanting to get a ton of money, when they suddenly get a ton of money and they become dickheads, just so you know, they were dickheads. People who were neurotic when they had a minor amount of money and then get a lot of money and become neurotic assholes. They were always neurotic assholes. This is the thing that people do. This is the deal. And we're at large produced by these conditions. The idea that you can actually change someone's material conditions to affect them works to a point. But the studies show it does not change them in some drastic, massive way. They are what they are, and they're produced as the model of them. They aren't born the day that they get money. They were born 40, 50, 60, 10, 20, 30 years before, and all of that comes with them. All of the model of things comes with them. We exist temporally in those material conditions as well. We're always there. Money enables is a great way to put it. I like that, Aaron Klein. Money gives you the opportunity to express what you could not before. Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it. It gives you new opportunities to find edges of things that you are repulsed by, parts of yourself that you don't like. But that's all of life. Less money also makes you evaluate what you enjoy and don't enjoy. Makes you evaluate yourself. Everything's constantly about evaluating yourself if you're self-aware. A lot of people aren't, and in that case, it does none of these things. But it absolutely, at no point, changes a person's mind. This doesn't work like that. As a thing. It doesn't work like that. As a thing. So, across the board, if you want to have this discussion about dark money, the discussion is about dark money amplifying and choosing voices. It's Sheldon Adelson making the choice for many, many, many people that he's going to put 100 million, 200 million, 300 million into a political campaign in ways that you don't know. And so you, who experience the world as though it's other people, don't see that it's one dude. Elon Musk, don't see it's one dude who's determining what you see on Twitter. Really it is. You don't see that because capital is obfuscated. It's dark money at large fucks with our ability to right ourselves. Because it fucks with our ability to right ourselves, we see it as bad, which is good. We should. It is bad. It's bad to not have a social understanding and to be able to map ourselves. But the idea of getting rid of it, well, who's going to do that? How are you going to get rid of it? I would say if you're going to talk about getting rid of dark money, we could have a huge, massive revolution. Short of that, we're going to need to do electoralism. And what group unanimously has put forward and fought to get rid of dark money in every single congressional session since the decision of Citizens United? There's only one. There's only one. But let's make sure that we purity test and avoid them getting any sort of money, which we know doesn't actually change anyone in any way. It gives them power to select, the power of selection. But that we can control if we're aware of it, if we talk about it. But if we shit on the power of people to get money, especially in a major time where we have a fascist who's going after businesses that donate and do leftist shit at the level that he's going at and has been for the last decade, maybe will harm us in the long run. Maybe it will stop our ability to actually get rid of dark money by being against it this much. We're almost serving capital by doing this. We're serving capital. I was being sarcastic. We're serving capital by doing this moralistic take, by being very upset. Oh, my Lord, they were taking money. Oh, have you seen such a thing before? I certainly would never take that kind of money. Yog, thank you for giving me the $30. I've never met you in my life, and you're supporting me, and you're making selection of me being more powerful and being able to do more. But that's not the same thing. No, it's very different. Very, very different. So it's a whole dumb thing. I don't understand the vaccines thing. I got vaxxed, Pashy. I got vaxxed. It's not an interesting, it wasn't really a joke as much as I just put it in the title because I'm tired and I haven't had my tea yet. I have absolutely zero of these people ever discussed publicly funded elections. How many people want to talk about, and you'd think they would, you can blame Obama. And I mean, really, you can actually blame Obama. Think about this. There is a place where you can blame Obama, and they don't. Which is, again, telling, but hey, Obama pledged. If you go back and look, I was a big, I was not an Obama guy. I was at the end because, again, I'll take him any day of the week over the fucking rivals. But early on in the primary, before he got going, Obama was like this hope and change candidate, and he really played up the racial angle, the poverty angle, the political activism angle, where he came from. And he said, he pledged that he would use public financing of elections, which gives you like $100 million, which is fucking solid. I mean, like, I'll take it to run for fucking something. It's not enough, really. But he said he would only take that. And I do think actually he would have won if he had done that. I still think he would have won regardless. I don't think it mattered. My opinion could be wrong. But he then decided against it after deciding for it. That changed the conversation. His decision, and this happens, one person's decision can mean a lot because it was his and his everything. And again, he is manufactured by the world he comes from. But he said, I'm not going to take it, and I'll take a whole bunch of fucking money. And he took the first bits of dark money for the Democratic Party. Good for you, Obama. The thing he did, and kind of what he set up there, is basically this huge landslide. Now, again, the Dems got stomped on dark money, and they did until Trump decided to completely begin destroying business, and the interests of capital are now against Trump. If you don't think the interests of capital are anti-Trump right now, you're fucking nuts. They're moving the other direction. There's a reason that since 2018, dark money has been in the Dems' favor by 3-1, which is insane. But Obama is where that started. But they won't talk about public financing elections. They won't talk about how we can do this. They'll talk at large about small donations, and they'll be proud of small donations. Bernie Sanders, proud of small donations. And the Dems do get more small donations because they have more people who are politically involved in all that. But money, whole thing. Do you have those studies? Yeah, I'll share them in. I grabbed a few overnight. I was looking at them. I decided against, I had a 55-minute version of last night's thing that I ended up cutting down to like 30. And I got it literally at the 30 mark. And I'm like, I'm done. It was like 6 a.m. My brain's dying. But I had a whole bunch of like drier shit that was later in it, or earlier technically, because it's really fascinating. When you start looking at how the studies operate and how they work, I find it fascinating. I'm weird. The big one, 2022. I'm not going to say these guys' names. I feel bad. They had a study in the Brazilian elections. What they found is that campaign spending limits affected candidate pool composition rather than policy outcomes. Money is a barrier to entry for politics. Have you ever tried to run for office or anything like that? Go try. Go look it up. Go look up the process. Like, don't spend money doing it, but spend an hour and find out what it takes to run for anything. State, local, fucking school board, any of that stuff. You have to have a war chest because you have to pay people to get signatures. You have to get signatures to get on ballots. You have the money to just get into it. You have to be able to spend 3, 6, 9 months of your life doing nothing but campaigning. The 40, 60 hour a week job does not work with that. It doesn't work with that at all. You need money. You need a lot of money. And so the studies show that it actually, like, money being the thing for all of this and having spending limits doesn't actually in the long run change outcome of policy. It didn't in Brazil, and they went through it's a longitudinal larger thing. But the barrier to entry is there. It's not really a persuasion tool. It doesn't change opinions. It doesn't do any of that. It's barrier of entry. When spending is restricted, more diverse, less wealthy candidates enter races, but it does not improve policy outcomes in the short term. Fucking weird. Interesting shit to talk about how politics actually functions inside of these things. Are there reasons for that? Sure. There's probably many. The study's fucking really long, and I didn't read the entire thing. It's mostly statistics. But I find this shit fascinating to talk about what actually changes outcomes. And a big one that changes outcomes is dark money. But dark money doesn't change the people. It changes the outcome because people don't have the ability to understand what they're seeing is not cynically put in front of them via capital, but instead they see it as Steve sharing something or a TV station showing a video. They don't take that as much. But if Steve shares something and they love Steve, even if that video is lies, even if it's pushed or put as one of the 10,000 things that a Democrat or Republican arm has shoved out that day, that opportunity wouldn't have existed there without that dark money funding it. So then the question is, what do you do? Like that's the question for me. What do you do? Do you want to get rid of dark money? Fine. Go do that. But shaming people for taking it, this is where it's, I don't do the moralistic thing here. I don't. I shame the people who made that possible. The justices, Citizens United. I had so much longer in there about Citizens United I had to take out, and I hope it generally made sense. Citizens United was a political group that went after Michael Moore for Fahrenheit 9/11, because Fahrenheit 9/11 released in June or July and did very, very well in theaters. It had a very extended run. But at the time, it was illegal to run ads that were political that weren't connected to a political campaign. So the company behind Fahrenheit 9/11, if they were buying ads for this, which was decidedly anti-Bush, and they were doing this, say, within 60 days of an election, that would be breaking campaign finance laws if they were ads that were explicitly political. Well, no, they're not. They're not expressly political. Supreme Court did nothing. It was thrown out across the board. The reason is because Michael Moore is, I believe the term was bona fide filmmaker. Bona fide is the term they used. He had made movies for 20 or 30 years. This wasn't like him doing a random thing, right? So they went, so you have to be a bona fide filmmaker, and they cynically began making really terrible films. The first thing they did is that they made one about John Kerry and Michael Moore. The actual decision, though, like the actual decision of Citizens United wasn't really about those. It was about Hillary the movie. Hillary the movie was about Hillary Clinton and murdering a bunch of people. It was their fourth film that they put out, and it was like YouTube slop for even the era. And it was in theaters. It wasn't in theaters. That one, they sued to be able to have advertising against the presidential campaign because it would take Hillary down. They got denied that, so they went to the Supreme Court and they got approved. And that was actually the Citizens United decision, was that corporations can do this and all of this. That's actually the thing. That's actually the thing, is like this. This is why we have Citizens United, is these assholes who just went, here's the rules you're giving me, I'll follow those rules. Oh, you need more rules? I'll follow those. Because their goal all along was specifically to be able to run hate ads and anti-politician campaign ads during that 60 days. Their goal was to break the spirit of the law from the beginning. And law is very bad when it comes to this. It doesn't really have the ability to deal with people who are bad faith actors who abide by the literal letter of the law and continually push it. Eventually it does break, and eventually it undoes itself. It's the nature of liberal democracy. What are you going to do? Then after that, it was a cascading effect. There were dozens of decisions that built this out. If money is speech, and if, putting this out there, which is this Hillary thing, if you're putting out an ad for that, this is speech. Why isn't that speech? It's all should be protected speech. There's no reason for us to deviate. That was very, very good job, assholes. But if that's the case, aren't corporations really just groups of people? And the First Amendment isn't just freedom of speech. It's right to assembly, which means corporations is a fundamental right, which means corporations and the ability for people to assemble is no different than people not assembling. We can't make laws separating them. This is their logic. You can go read it. It's fucking nuts. And so corporations, which can't die and actually can't be held legally liable in and of themselves and can go bankrupt and then reform elsewhere, there's nothing there. There's no human at the center of it. They get all these rights. So it wasn't actually Citizens United that did dark money as we do it, but we call it Citizens United because it's easier. because it's like 90 different cases. It's really a lot. But all of this, the original laws were not because billionaires would change your opinion as a candidate. That it wasn't, well, if they can give more money, then politicians will just be swayed every direction. Because that's not really how it works. It just isn't. The problem is that they'll be able to prop up people from the ground up, from the bottom. They'll find the shittiest, tiniest politician who inhumanly, against all odds, who has no charisma, who people universally loathe, and who is somehow in a state that prides itself on masculinity and strength and being tall and rugged and powerful and hard-spoken. Ted Cruz will become a representative of your state. Ted Cruz didn't change any of his opinions, but they put so much money behind him to make him a populist, which he isn't, to make him interested in rights of people, but in the Tea Party sense, because he got his start as basically being a whiny shit dad, asshole, loser. And they elevated that because he already agreed with them. He would not only take their money, but do the thing. If my channel is actively being ads, I get money from ads. If you've been on this channel long enough, you 100% know that AIPAC and Israel have been paying for a lot of my ads. You might have gotten an Israel ad here. I don't know why they do this, because fuck Zionism. But they do. They're paying. They're putting money into a big pot, and the advertising dollars go to YouTube and then to me. Do I know really where that comes from? No, I didn't until people started pointing it out. And then I sometimes have myself on my own stream and I watch my own ads, and it's a lot of Israel, because Israel's putting a fuck ton of money in. I don't think anyone at my channel has had their views swayed that Israel would be a great place to visit. That's not it. What they do is they want to get people who are forming opinions. Children. YouTube's primary audience, teenagers. And they want to show things that people don't have another decision of. My audience, by the way, not a lot of teenagers. Just we index high. We index into the 25-34 range. Not quite as old as I am, but there's actually a huge amount that are older, so I'm okay with that. But that's what they're doing, is they're buying ads, and they can buy a lot of ads. And when you see an ad a ton, it affects you. Not long term, as the studies show. It'll affect you for a few days. But if you see many of them, that effect continues and builds over time. Does it change? Somewhat. But I, who am putting through those ads, and I don't know it quite often, my opinion on Israel I'm the one they're giving money to. It doesn't change. If the IDF were to give me $100,000 and say you can't tell anyone, I might take it, and I wouldn't change my opinion at all. I'll happily let them pay for me to send another flotilla. I have no idea. That's not how it works. People don't change their fucking minds. It's not how it works. At all. It's never been how it works. You're not going to change your mind in either, by the way. Just, it's fine. And you need to understand how these forces work. Until the material conditions you exist in significantly change, you will not. That's it. You exist as a confluence of forces that is retroactively justifying it based on the rest of the memories and experiences you have running up against what you're going through right now. You're not special. You're not an individual who's sitting here going, yes, I'm measuring everything quite intellectually and I'm making all the decisions. Oh my, you know what? Brooks made a lovely point. Yesterday I was a Zionist, and today, I actually... I've spent years seeing starving children that I don't believe are children, that I consider to be subhuman animals, and I've talked about such a thing, but Brooks makes a fair point about the nature of the subject. That's not fucking how people work. This is stupid. This is stupid talk. This is stupid talk. Just childish to view things this way, that you're going to change or anyone's going to change because they're given money, that... It's so fucking dumb. And it's filled with genuine weird hatred of David Pakman, who kind of sucks. I know, it's a shock. I think that I got called a neolib. I got called a neolib in my comments, which I left up. I almost penned it, but there are other better comments that I do. I always pen the meanest thing people say about me. But apparently I'm a neolib who's defended Pac-Man many times. But I haven't, and I'm not. A neon lib, still the lib part. No. The challenge is that people get so frustrated when you're not in line with them. They get frustrated with all of the forces that they don't have, honestly, a really great way to put it out. The impulses of us make the phantasm that is the imago that we experience. And from there, we create the simulacra of the imago, and it's just not very good. And it never is. It's why people spend their lives learning how to speak publicly and talk through how they're able to see things, or they become an artist or a writer. How you see things makes you, and how you talk about things makes others. But money doesn't change this. $8,000 a month is not going to change drastically anybody. Not inside of 6 months, certainly. It isn't life-changing money. It doesn't exist that way. And even then, the studies were really fascinating. I'll end up posting a bunch of them because someone might go through them and see that I read, went through, checked. They seemed like checked out. Many are referenced many times. It's kind of my general filter. But I didn't read them. Maybe the study's conclusions are wrong of their own work, and I would be very interested to be able to see that. But I don't think so. But again, they didn't change my mind because that's not how it works. So what am I going to say? Can you save money for the rest of us when you get that CIA check? I did get a comment like that. I'm on food stamps. You fucking cocksuckers. Like, eat shit. Like, I'm not like, again, I don't mind people making money. I don't have issues against, go get your dollar. I've defended Hassan as not a bourgeois person because I don't see class the way that Marx demanded we do, because I think the world's changed over the last 150 years. And I think his work deserves the same, that he isn't a dogmatic thinker and he fought dogmatism. And so having a dogmatic image of Marx, I find to be fucking funny. But I've defended that. And it's not because I'm also a millionaire. It's because, hey, that's not the thing. That's not the system. And this isn't the system either. Under 500 grand, I think it's under 400 grand, going to a handful of lib or semi-lefty, some of them are even semi-lefty, content creators to make generally content that I don't find objectionable but isn't great. I don't give a fuck. Less than $500,000 when 15.5 billion was spent in this last election on the record, doesn't count the stuff off the record. You're going to be spending a literal week of your life doing this. Do you know who this helps? This helps people who make that story. The people who get off on the anger, because everything goes back to, oh yeah, I have a Substack. You should give me money. You should give me money, which I get. You should give me money. Give me money. I love money. Money's good. It's fantastic. I can pay for stuff for my kids. I have a bunch of books. I had a successful career in tech and entertainment for a very long time. I did very well for myself. I didn't do very, very well, but we did fine. I got to get into, at one point in my salary, I got to break the 200K mark. Yeah, which is good. I end up getting 160K afterwards, which is still very good. I was living in LA at the time. A little bit of a different beast, had a kid. And then over time, that nest egg, the money I saved, all that stuff just goes away, because that's how life works. Because I'm not a capitalist. As I mentioned in the video, I come from a family, my family, not gangbuster money, but my brother and I will never have to worry about being homeless as long as we live. I'm certain of that. Mostly certain of that, depending on things. My parents have a house that they own, and we have a relationship that's good enough that I can always make sure that my family will be able to be there, and they have enough of a nest egg that they'll take care of us if we're ever in problem. I am exceptionally fortunate just in that. But I'm on food stamps because I haven't taken a paycheck and I don't make significant money, and I haven't in over a year. And the nest egg is gone. And this is how people get and exist in their lives. My yearly salary for the last couple of years has not been near to like 100K, not touching that at all, because that's how life works. You go up and down and you do things. It's fine. This is where I've been financially. It's not a big deal to me. Heather openly talks about it too. We know where we're at. We want to be very blunt with people. We live what we consider effectively a blessed life, but it's not gangbusters. We don't make a fucking $1 million a year. I don't make $100,000 a year. I don't make $50,000 a year. I might make close to that actually this year. Depends. I have a contract that didn't pay out that's now sitting with the company. I did some work for them. 4 steps away. Ultimately, the money came from the Saudis because of investments and how money flows. I guess I'm evil too. I still critique, and I don't think I'll ever go to Saudi Arabia because I'm pretty sure I've said many things that would get me executed or chopped up and put inside of a well. I mean, that is a thing they do. So what do you do? Well, here's the thing. I would take $8,000 a month tomorrow. And if they said I can't tell anyone, I'm not sure I would give a shit. I know I don't. I'm not going to name who my last 3 contracts are that people did give me money. They don't give me money to do the stream, but they give me money to survive. What's the difference? I don't know. Are they moral? Are they immoral? Do you want to judge me on them? I'm not going to tell you their names. I'm not going to tell you the companies. Fuck off. I don't have to, because there's no effect here. They aren't changing how I talk, because money doesn't do that. What they're doing is changing the ability for me to talk. Because as I make money, I can do streams on Saturday like this, instead of having to work 80 hours a week, like many people in my audience. I know how often you work. People who are doing insane work and they listen to me as they're working. They're pulling 60, 80, some have pushed 100-hour weeks. I've been there. It sucks. They're not able to stream. They like this because they hear me say things that they tend to agree with, or that they just sort of think I'm just that cool. Whatever it is, they get that, but they can't speak. I would like to be in a world where everyone gets that chance, where everyone can speak, where everyone gets the shot to be doing these things. It's not where we are. Money lets me do this more. Your money lets me do this more. I want to do this more. I think what I do is important in a certain way, but less that. I like doing it. And I like learning from it. And I like what I think is important, which is getting through theory and the actual functioning of the world and actually going through it and finding interesting ways to discuss it and interesting ways for us to figure out what we might do next. That's the important work. And I get to do that more often if I have money. $8,000 a month, I'd take. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. Like, and it's, if they ever said, oh, you have to do a video like this, anyone who's actually worked with me in real life, and I have now a career where a lot of people don't like me, which is fine. But I've got a career that spans 20 years, thousands of people who've worked with me. If you ever said to them, boy, Brooks is the type who might keep his mouth shut to keep his job, they would laugh at you. They would laugh. They would think you're fucking insane. Because before political shit in any meaningful sense. Yog, damn it.
Yog Sothoth super chatted $20. I'm hitting 50 this week, brother, and I'm currently at work. Sign of the horns, here's more dark money.
I am going to actually maybe change the thing to being like a dark money. Like, and here's my dark money. I should hit up Brendan for that. Ooh, I might do a thing. We'll see. But that thing that this enables me to do and sets me up for, I have been at jobs that I've literally risked my career to state what I believe in constantly. I limited my career constantly. I do not give a fuck, and I never have given a fuck. I was at dinner with leadership of Fox and my bosses, and they were talking about how piracy is a problem for the upcoming films and how they were worried about it. And I said, well, you should just learn to live with it, because ultimately piracy is a pretty good thing. And it should be legal. Do you want to tell your bosses that if you work in fucking Hollywood? No, probably not. So yeah, I don't give a fuck, and I've never given a fuck. No one's going to tell me what to do. But even if they did, here's a tip. You'd know. Audiences know. Go find, and you can see it. There are examples. I should spend some, I'll spend the next week. If anyone wants to help, if you go to discord.gg/DGQC, you can join the QC. In stream chat, I'll make a thread, or in suggestions, let's make a thread looking for disingenuous commentary, because this exists, especially in the era of YouTube when sponsorship was getting going and didn't have to be disclosed, but people were being bought to change their opinion and told what they couldn't say. The way a person talks when they don't mean something is insanely different. And the audience knows, and audiences turn on people. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. People are not like psychotic little sociopaths. We fantasize about that because we don't like all the social mores. I get it. But most people are not sociopaths, even in entertainment. I've been in long enough to know that there's people who care about things and that they're generally broken in a lot of different other ways. That thing, they care, and they would just suck it up and sell Pepsi, even though they like Coke more. Or you can't say anything negative about Zionism anymore. Well, that would be a problem for anyone who's ever been anti-Zionist. People don't change their opinions, but there are examples. The audience turns, or their audience shifts. They do what TYT did. TYT is an example of this over time. They literally took money from Polymarket, and not a small amount, and not even a chunk of like $8,000 a month. They took millions from Polymarket, which is a massive gambling thing. I'm not even against it, by the way. Let's be very fair. But with that, their coverage of crypto changed, and it kind of disappeared. Kind of a little bit. Godspeed you. I hope I'm the kind of person that doesn't give a fuck. No, you will be. Most people are. I don't, because I went through severe traumas and I don't have an understanding or care about certain things because I'm exceptionally non-normative. But again, it's not a good thing that I don't give a fuck. This is not a skill. Like the ability to censor yourself and the ability to care about the people you're talking with in order to get things done and work together, I don't have that. That's unhealthy. That's unhealthy. It's not good. We should be, and I mean this as should as in ethically, you should be able to talk with people of all sorts of opinions, even those who you might see as monsters in some capacity, if you're just doing day-to-day shit, if it's shit that doesn't really matter. Because the vast majority of shit, by the way, doesn't really matter. The vast majority of shit doesn't matter. These big things kind of do. And they matter a lot. Would you be in a position if you were talking to a boss who was a Zionist that you'd talk about Palestine? I have. But again, how you do it. Do you go, yeah, well, fuck Israel? You'll get fired. And probably deservedly so, because that's weird and creepy. But instead, if you're like, look, I just think everyone there should have equal rights, you actually don't get a lot of people upset at that. Like, and then they look stupid if they respond in the way that they have to. Because you can just talk to people and be a human. Just be a human. Just be a human. Like, talk to people like they're humans. It's fine. It's like, I go through the whole thing. I'm still confused by this, but I went all the way across. And what ends up happening is I went through and I'm like, hey, talking about, hey, money is a corrupting influence because we're all produced by the situation we're in. So money's corrupting, and people attacking Taylor, but where her money comes from doesn't even matter. And I have people in the comments saying, obviously it does, and that's what I care about, and that I'm right, because they're siding with me. They don't get that I'm not fucking siding with you. I don't give a fuck where Taylor's money comes from either. I think her writing is bad. I think she's bad at writing. I think she's a gossip columnist who doesn't actually do real tech or systemic critique, and that's fine. I mean, it's Wired. No one reads Wired for being, like, insightful. But it's like, every side can't help it, because you're filled with fucking resentment. Resentment, proper resentment, Nietzschean resentment that carries through, is where you go, I don't have money, and you find a way in your head to make that a moralistic good. But it's not just that you are a moralistic good. You must be good. You have to be. But it's the fact that you do not get that money. You don't take it, but you're not getting offered it. So you have no idea if you'd take it, nor would you probably be in a position to be able to take it, especially contingency at this time. But then you go, but she is taking it. Therefore, she bad. And that's the resentment. And that's all it is. Both sides. She's bad because of this. You're bad because of this. Fuck off, all of you children. Grow up and understand that we're all people trying to make it through this life, and let's figure out how we can do better things together. Jesus fucking Christ. What about accepting defense money for scientific research? I've had to consider this. The strings they put in are the thing. That's what you're doing. Taking money from whoever you're taking money for. The strings they put in are the thing. And again, however you want to interpret contracts, you're free to do this. In a vacuum, you're free to do this. Enjoy yourself. Chorus, at any point, writing an email, saying in a video chat, writing in a text message, this content needs to be changed because of this political idea, would put them in jeopardy at an extreme level of Trump going after them and enjoying it because they're supporting Dems. Because that is literally illegal. For a 501c4, cannot say, this type of content's no good. Don't do that again. They're not allowed to be involved with the content. They are allowed to prop up people who already agree with them. If, for example, someone were to do a video on David Pakman, who was part of Chorus, and Chorus wrote, you can't do this video. We're paying you. They can go, oh, well, that's illegal. And guess what? We do live in a world where that, because of their political views, would be a fucking target for Trump and the FEC. They're actively trying, like, if you don't think right now that the FEC under Trump and all the people he's put in there are just going through every filing and everything with Chorus, if they haven't, like, can you imagine the legal nightmare that's happening right now on their end? That Trump is dying to find anything. All of the right wingers are dying to find anything. And if they do, good, fuck them. But if they don't, I would trust, if they find nothing and they don't do anything about it, I would trust that actually, they didn't find anything. Because Trump would love to make an example of a liberal group. He'd love that. His tiny dick gets like, it becomes like a needle at that point with a little pinhead. Like that's his thing. He jams over that shit. So it's bullshit. Because the way it works is Chorus, as a 501c4, can't sponsor specific content, can't control specific content. These are the laws as the FEC has written them. And again, Trump would happily enforce them. If you think that there's that little of a difference between the Dems and Republicans, that Trump's Republicans, they wouldn't go after anyone like this. Really? 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 Someone shouldn't be fired for saying fuck Israel? You should. You probably shouldn't use that language in public or around professional situations. When I was in high school, I had a teacher who had a really definite effect upon me in a lot of different ways. It was the one who introduced me to philosophy, but I swore, as I've always swore. I swear like a sailor, always have. And he stopped me one day and he said, and he lost his shit on me in class. And he was like, here's how it works. In this class, you're in my classroom. You go to work, you're at work. I had to learn this in the Army. When you're doing things and you're working with other people, you cannot use words people find offensive. You need to stop it immediately. You walk out that door, you say, fuck you, Dr. Kreitzer, I'll say, fuck you back. I don't care. But in this room, you showed decorum. And I agree with him. Because, what's the point? What is the point? We're all working together on a thing. We're working on software. If I say, fuck Israel, if I say, hey, I think Israel's fucked up. If I say Israel should give everyone equal rights and I think it's wrong what they're doing, that you shouldn't be fired for. But I think saying horrifying things, sure, why not? Like, don't be a dickhead. Don't be an asshole. Like, this is like, don't be an asshole is like basic level shit. Everyone's a person. If you think that like there are Americans who are Zionists who have any concept of this, that they don't bar from their mind everything, or that they don't find ways to cover up increasingly horrifying things they see with increasingly barred or disavowed levels of knowledge of horrifying levels, then I got to talk to you about how internal psychology works, because people do amazing things to figure out where they're at and justify their actions and positions. People do insane acrobatics. Does it make them a bad person? It makes them bad at being a person. But what's a bad person? Like, are we really doing that? This is why I use the term evil. Are we doing this shit? Did Deleuze write, "Do not be an asshole guide"? He did. It's called Anti-Oedipus. No, he was a dickhead in a lot of ways. A lot of people are. I don't think you should outright be a dickhead. Or do. I don't really care. Honestly, I don't really give a shit. But the thing I care about is when we start talking about judging people en masse and starting to work against our own political interests and power structures developing in any meaningful way. Because that's all this does. The right has latched onto this. One of my favorite things is in my comment section, and you know what? Fuck it. Let's go take a look. Boop, 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 boop. One sec. God, he looks terrible. He looks terrible. Just terrible. Let's go read some comments. What the fuck? Is this an infinite? There it is. Okay. I penned this one. This is a good comment. I don't often get like really solid like critiques. Very often I don't. Very often, and you'll see the rest of those. You'll see the rest of those. Bong and stuff. There is an argument that the conversation is to push through legislation, even though the example isn't perfect or meaningful, it is fun. You mean dark money? You think? Anyone who's saying that this article is going to help push through legislation hasn't paid attention to legislative processes for the last fucking decade or 15 years. The Democrats have unanimously voted for and brought forward this legislation, the Disclose Act, in one form or another every single year. There are 2 congressmen, 1 year, the first year. Outside of that, every year the Republicans unanimously vote to filibuster, block, or vote down the legislation. This is not going to help the right push it through. The Republicans aren't going to change their mind because of this fucking article. These people need to check their shit in, because you are fucked up when it comes to legislation or how any of this process works. Oh, the Republicans or Democrats are identical. Not on this, they're not. I saw someone say, yes, but they only vote like that because they know the Republicans will block it. Eat shit. Then you believe in nothing. Like, you believe nothing can happen. So go away and let the rest of us try to have a democracy here and try to do things and change things. Because if you don't care, if you're going to be that conspiracy brained, well, it's obviously that I'm obviously right, and everything that is always going in the direction that seems good is also a lie. Go away. We don't need your commentary. Like, you're just useless. You're a useless person. All you're doing is creating impotence. I mean, granted, that's what you want, because that's the only thing that arouses you is the impotence of other people, but still, grow up. And gross. Thank you for the $5, by the way. 425 people were arrested in London in support of Palestine action under domestic terrorism charges. Uncritical support for every single one of them. God damn. London's fucking crazy, man. The UK's always been fucked up. Like, it has. If you didn't know, they've done genocides a couple times. And I would argue that a lot of what happened to the Native Americans is actually just UK Junior. It's like we're the son who like, Dad, I don't like you anymore, but I'm going to keep doing your thing. That's America. That's kind of like America did that with the UK. It's all the UK. We did a lot of genocides. It's a lot of genocides. It's kind of crazy. That's why, though, Churchill was really upset with Hitler. Like, he was biting on their bit. It's like, can you imagine like doing someone else's bit at that level? That's Churchill's thing, man. That's the UK's thing. That's why he was mad. Also, they're still making the argument after everything that's happened. Oh, no, people are making crazy arguments. So we're going to go through comments. This was a good comment, and I actually want to like address it in case Nicola Dimitri 731 watches at some point. I'm actually not going to respond to most of these people directly because I don't give a fuck about most of them. But I think it's a great video. Well, thank you. But I don't exactly understand why the point was made around 2145, something that Taylor, Emma, or Matt were implying. The point around 2145 is the idea that by taking the money, they're naturally corrupt. This is how I understand the point that these people are making is made. It isn't explicit, and it is fair to call me out on that because it is, again, mostly me taken from knowing Matt. I've watched Matt for fucking years, like crazy. Emma, I've watched for years and years. Like, these are people who I have a parasocial understanding of, probably. But when they talk about and make the comment, and as I put in the video, Emma and them going, how many of these are how many pro-Palestine voices were there? None. And it's like there literally were multiple pro-Palestinian voices. I used one as a great example because I think it's insane to do this to these people. But the idea that the money is corrupting them is, I think, front and center, that the money's changing them, that the money shifts their opinions. It's not explicit. It's a fair thing. I have my criticism of all those people and plenty others angry about this, but I listened to what those specific people, particularly Matt Lech on his Left Reckoning and Majority Report, had to say. I don't think it's fair to say they framed it that way. I haven't watched Matt's I don't watch Left Reckoning. It ain't my jam, but I'll probably give it a lot. I am with you on the problems of an obsession with authenticity, moralism, and absolutely there's people doing that like a lot. I do think that clip point in the video distracts. It might. It's fair. I do think it is a fair point, but I think I could have made it stronger because I know I went and spent a little bit of time. I know Taylor's made this comment. She was on with what's her name? The Truanon. What's her name? Anyway, they went into it about how money's ruining these people and how it was giving control. It's really frustrating. It's a lot of frustrating. Their issue was the terms of the contract, the people who were getting the money, the actual content those people made, who it supported, etc. But this is the thing. Since they were saying the content it's getting made is pro-Israel, AIPAC content, pro-Dem content, how I took that to mean, because I went through and I saw, and if you look at, there's some of it who is, there are shills, but even David Pakman, the last 3 or 4 months, like to say he's like entirely pro-Dem is, I think, disingenuous. Because he's very much critical in a lot of ways of what the Dems are doing and talking about, like, even in the video, and by the way, he did a video about Chorus when they were founding it, and he's like, I'm coming on to advise and mentor because the Democrats have fucked up and they've ruined, like, he's very much against, I think Pac-Man sucks, but when you start saying that, well, they're making content that's pro-Dem, and expressly we've seen that they haven't, I think the implication is that they're being shifted. They're being changed. And I don't really like that. I'm not a big fan. Not a fan of that. Because again, it's wiping away a lot of people, and it's wiping away a lot of people inside of this. And again, only the names that the article mentioned. I haven't seen a collated, here's a list of everyone in Chorus who's talked about it. I found a guy who's, and again, are these people like exactly where I'm at? No, that's not how it works. But here's, for example, this is Christopher Goldsmith. He's a guy who his PAC and his setup is specifically,
and also benefiting from.
His thing very specifically is he works with 2 groups, nonprofits, Task Force Butler and Veterans Fighting Fascism. It's veterans focused content on fascism and what they can do. It's decidedly pro-abortion rights. It's anti-ICE. I find nothing in his content that is objectionable except that he doesn't do Marxist analysis, but that's not objectionable to me. I don't expect that from everyone. Like, I don't find anything in here that's like, oh, he's milquetoast lib. He's not. He's really not milquetoast lib. He is talking about how we're at the point, why aren't more veterans standing up? He is not doing things that are middle of the road pro-dem. And he named himself. Like, again, we don't have a list, so we don't know. And so you end up in this place of like, Pac-Man just told Taurus he saw Taurus as the future of progressives. I'm not saying Pac-Man's good, but Pac-Man, when he said this, again, he's saying Taurus is the future because he's, again, aligned with him. He said it in a way of, because the Dems, the standard Democratic Party has no idea what they're doing. We're witnessing battles internally of the Democratic Party for the future of the soul of the party. That's what we're seeing happen. None of them are on the side of Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer or Joe Biden. All of these people are incredibly critical of all of them. They're fighting for a more liberal, centrist version of the Democrats. Yes, I agree with that. But they're not pro-Dem. What does pro-Dem mean? Pro-lib? Sure, but like, what the fuck are you doing? What are we going to be at that point where it's like, okay, money's going out from a party that is trying to fight Trump. All of them have to be card-carrying communists. Good job. Like, who the fuck is this? Like, and again, Pac-Man's not being paid. Pac-Man's being paid to mentor on how YouTube works, how to build thumbnails, how his editors do stuff. One of his editors gave a talk inside of it, apparently. Like, this is... What's the point? Why are you upset about this? Pac-Man sucks. He always sucked. Why is this bad? I don't get it. Are there Marxists in the chorus influencers or not? I don't know. We don't have a list of them. And I can't imagine there's a lot of people who are like, especially if you were further left, I'm not sure I'd be comfortable saying, oh, actually, I'm one of them. Because what people would do is they'd go through all of my videos. I'm not one of them. But if I said I wasn't one of them, oh, I am. You go through all my videos, you'd find the liberal comments I'd make as proof that I'm a lib. I'm not. But you'd find those comments that are on that edge, because that's what this is. This is about purity testing in time. It's, by the way, literally everything that this has been doing that. Going back and finding those tweets, finding those examples, not finding anything that proves them wrong at all. David Pac-Man, here, let's just do it. Here, we'll just do this. The easiest thing. David Pac-Man YouTube. Because if you want to talk about the things that he sucks on, sure, let's do that. I'm down with that. I don't care. David Pac-Man sucks. David Pac-Man show. I don't want to listen to you talk.
This guy Pac-Man.
You suck. All right. Videos. Trump, anti-Trump. We're just, jobs market collapses. Some fucking self-reflexive thing. These are all anti-Trump. Here we go. Let's keep going. 1 second. Pro Newsom. Not great. But anti-Trump, like, he sucks, but he sucks in a way that he's part of a coalition against power right now. Is he for other power? Yeah, he is. But again, we have our revolution. Who gets the wall? It ain't Pac-Man. Sorry. That's not a thing I'd be cool with. It ain't Pac-Man. This is where you start going into that kind of purity testing. That's where this ends. It's just terrible. But let's find his stuff that's like pro-Democrat. Pro-Democrat. Where's the Dems? 1 second. We're going to find that Dem content he's putting out. Where is he positive on the Dems? 1 second. Because it seems like it's anti-Trump. It's like countercultural. It's counter-narrative. Counter-power. In line with other things, sure, there's yep. He's, again, quoting. It's great. Where is it? Where's his pro-Dem stuff? 1 second. I'm just going to... we'll get there eventually. We're now 12 days in. 1 sec. I'm looking for, like, positive on Nancy Pelosi. Positive on the Dems. Because it's pro-Dem content. That's what they said, right? Remember? That's the language. pro-dem content. It's in the fucking article. It's in all of these conversations. Where's the pro any of this? Fox host almost gets it. Yeah, maybe that's being slightly positive to Fox, I guess. 1 second. We're now 2 weeks out. That Pac-Man sucks. I disagree with him a lot. But is this it? This is the betrayal of what? $8,000 a month? Who gives a shit? Do you give this much of a shit about 2 weeks of content where at no point is he cheering on the Democratic establishment, which is, again, the claim. 1 sec. We're going to find it. Don't worry. We're going to find it. In fact, let's find it. Let's go Pelosi. Let's just do it. Pelosi. Oh, that's old. Trump blows a fuse, explodes on Nancy Pelosi. Hey, you know what? That's positive on Pelosi, maybe. It's more just talking about her tweet owning Trump, probably, because, again, he does trash content. He doesn't do analysis. Pelosi caves. Oh, that sounds negative, actually. That sounds negative on her. Should Nancy Pelosi be removed? Oh. Like, huh. Yeah, Pac-Man is a multimillionaire, but he is hankering to be subverted for 8K. Like, this is, again, dumb shit. Like, this is dumb shit. I don't think you should watch David Pac-Man because I think it rots your brain. Okay? I think it's bad content without analysis that is basically doing the own the libs thing, but own the conservatives thing. I don't think it's good. But it's not like, oh, he's the thing? Pac-Man? David Pac-Man isn't worth that. He's not the thing. Wait, how about Brian Taylor Cohen, who's the guy who started it? Let's go find stuff in his
My name is
channel.
Brian Tyler.
I don't care, dude. Let's go through it. We'll go through his videos. Come on. There you are. Trump and Republicans, Susan Collins scandal, Trump implodes. We're just going to keep going. The Supreme Court shit's actually really fascinating. This seems like he's doing the same thing. 1 sec. We'll get to that pro-Democrat shit at some point. Illinois Governor Trump's bombshell warning. You know what? I kind of like him, actually, the governor of Illinois. He's not a leftist, but I like what he's been doing, and I like how he's been having the conversation. I like Newsom. Actually, I hate Newsom. I like Newsom for how he's been showing how easy it is to actually get under Trump's skin and fuck with stuff. Trump stopped using all caps. Do you get that? Do you get that change? Newsom did that. I believe Newsom did that, which means Trump's off balance. Anything like that is off balance. South Park made him off balance. Off balance is good for a fascist. Fuck anyone who says otherwise. You don't have to always be like the literal change maker that makes everything change tomorrow. Little things are good. Newsom sucks. Don't, please, dear God, do not vote for him for president or push him at all. But I'll vote for him over Trump. I'll vote for him over Trump. I would vote for J.D. Vance over Trump. If those are my two options, grow up. J.D. Vance would be funny. I think J.D. Vance would be fantastic for us because I think Trump is a unique coalescing of a lot of points. The techno-fascist money, because of everything, the landlord groups, the basically long-term old money, religious right, somehow, the racist groups, all of these various positions that are in the coalition of the Republican Party, they all come through Trump. They all insert him. He is in the gangbang. He's the only one that can be fucked by all of them at once. None of the rest of them can. And this is why we, on our side, we model ourselves after that. We always assume, oh, who on our side can be gangbanged by all of our groups? We don't have anyone like that because we aren't that. But Trump is that. J.D. Vance in that gangbang would be hilarious. He doesn't understand how to affiliate any of them. And except for the techno-fascists, everyone else he would fail with. It would be amazing. I would genuinely love it. I would adore J.D. Vance as president because it would fall apart. Again, it depends on the choices. One sec, we're getting through this. I'm looking for that pro-dem content. One sec. I guess, again, Newsom. But again, it's Newsom attacking Trump. Fox losing it. Newsom humiliating them. Again, it's oh, look, liberal tears. Oh, look, conservative tears. Shit. Is this good? No, this is not healthy content. But is this the thing? Why don't I join chorus? You would get money. We need more hard leftists. I mean, sure. I don't know. I have a feeling chorus ain't going to be taking a lot of people at this point. Can you imagine the number of applications they had the day after by right-wingers and fake people and all that shit and pseudo-lefties who are wanting to just be proven right and like just ruining it. And again, we can go through. There's some amazing. One sec. Because I went through Alley, but I want to go through. I've got Elizabeth Booker Houston. I went on stream over. Really, I'm still upset about that as a thing. So bad. I'm so pissed about that one. Elizabeth Booker Squared is her handle on TikTok, and she's a lawyer, and she was like, "You don't understand why these things are in there," and it's like the comment I made in the QC. It's when you don't understand how things work, everything's a conspiracy theory. Everything's a conspiracy. Oh, they get control. Well, look, if you put this content sponsored by Chorus one time, everyone goes away. Like that's it. That closes everything down. It shuts them down. So any content they get approval over, of course, is mentioned. It doesn't say they get approval over all the content on your channel, just content with Chorus. Because if they don't have that, then they have no legal recourse or defense when it's said that Chorus produced this content. They need that. Legally, they have to have this. There's no other way to defend against this in a contract on their side. This is, if you go and you know about this is how they defend against this. But in a vacuum, it sounds like they're saying any Chorus content they get to determine, which is sort of true. And all you need to know is just enough to be dangerous. Just enough to be dangerous and stupid. Is Bad Left Empanada a good leftist to follow? Yes or no, and why? I don't care for his content, but would I rather you follow him than David Pakman? Probably. I don't think he's a stupid person. I think he is emotionally invested in very particular ways that I tend to run counter to. He's had a different existence than me, so it's not really a judgment. It's just I don't get a lot of his positions. I think some of his stuff is built more out of resentment, hatred, and anger. He says things that put him way out over skis. Someone made a comment and asked him about in Philosophy Tube's video that I did the thing on. She uses the term Indian, which is really fucking weird to have a British person on a global platform speak of Indians. It's offensive. It's offensive to me, not even just in terms of like what indigenous people want to be called. It is offensive to a lot of them there, by the way, too. But for me, it's offensive because India is a country, and the British people have a history with a country called India and Indians. They killed 1 billion or 2 Indians. So when a British person is doing a video about Indians, you need to be not using that term. Just indigenous Americans, the indigenous tribes, and even tribes is offensive. The totalizing of a group is weird. Bad Empanada said in the comment, it was fucking cracked me up, that it shows she has familiarity with the issues because that's the word Americans use. No, like whatever has to be said in order to be counter is very much Bad Empanada's take generally. And I think it's dangerous, but is it better than Pakman? Sure. He's reactionary. He's not trying to build a left movement. No, but he has good critiques often. I've seen good critiques of his. He has had good critiques, but he's had bad ones too. So whatever. Brooks, have you ever thought about making an occasional separate show where you talk about how you dealt with the trauma you mentioned? I did my video recently on it, and I try not to talk about it too often. The challenge of trauma at that level, and I'm saying this is personal experience for me, how I go through it. It defines so much of your life that you can't get away from it. Like, you can't get away from it. And so everything I'm doing is kind of talking about the trauma to me. You don't see it that way. You don't fucking know at all. You're hearing the words I'm saying, but I don't get away from that. When I'm talking, and I've talked a lot about shootings, I've talked about mass violence, I've talked about death, I've talked about people being shot, all of those things very often. Most people who don't know any of my background, they'll see that and think it's just the thing I'm talking about, but it's all about that. And so making a video specifically about that means bringing the signifiers directly in, that everyone will know it's about that. That is painful archaeology for me. Very painful. Weird stories. And a lot of it is ultimately, and it's a weird thing to talk about. It's a thing I've had to come to terms with. But that event is ultimately what put me on the trajectory in my life where I got to have the extraordinary experiences I got to have because of this awful thing. It really, really changes how you view cause and effect and all. Like at that level, it changes how you view things, or you fall apart, in my experience. And I had a lot of people I knew from it who it destroyed them. It destroyed them, straight up destroyed them. I have my book I wrote. I'll be done here at 5:30 because the co-author for my book, which was about Columbine, Rob Merritt, he's in town. Doesn't come into town very often. Maybe I'll stream until he gets here and I'll make him come on stream and we can talk and he can say hi. He's a lovely guy. And there's very few people in this world who know everything about me. And Rob does. Yeah. But it's tough. And sadness is a thing that is really difficult to talk about because as you get older, and as time passes, sadness is no longer just the thing or just sits in the thing or only does that thing. It's not just sad. Things become tied together complexly and weirdly, and memories spiral out. You'll have 3 days, 4 days after the events, memories of standing in an emergency room with Lance Kirkland, who's a family friend. His dad was babysat by my mom, like old family friends when they were young. And Dylan, my friend, blew his face off with a shotgun. And I was there in the hospital with him because they were family friends. And that's weird. And then Aerosmith showed up. How the fuck do you how do you parse that? How do you handle, that's a real sentence. And I mean that, that's a real thing. It's weird. And life gets very weird when these things start tying together because I was a huge Aerosmith fan. And so was Lance. It was the weirdest fucking thing. So is that a good memory? Is that a happy memory? Is it one I should share? Is it moral of me to share these stories? Or should I be ashamed of the fact that I'm happy about them, or that they're good memories, or Lance is ultimately alive and out and about and you can only kind of see the scars these days, but he's fucked up from it in various ways too. We all are. So how do you handle that? I don't know. I will say it's one of the big drivers for me that pushes me away from moralistic language, where people are supposed to thrive on guilt and self-doubt and change, because I've had enough experiences like that. That's like, hey, I didn't choose what happened to me, good or bad. I didn't really choose how I reacted to it either. But you affect these things. How you internalize them, how you grow them affects yourself, how you handle them, how you adjust them. You can't adjust them a lot, but you can make tweaks. You can add affect emotionally to things. You can affect your responses over time if you focus on it, if you're really trying. Completely different. Have I read Berserk's manga? Help me push through trauma. It's one of the reasons I used to make the joke a lot. I used to give Sunday so much shit for liking Berserk. I don't like the animes. The animes are better than I remember. I'm rewatching all of them. They're better than I remember. But the storyline up until a point is about that. And I've always been attracted to stories that talk about how people get through trauma and pain and all of that, because it's something I think that is a fairly universal thing people don't talk about. We know the rates of sexual assault and childhood violence and abuse and crime. And we know the rates of all these things. The idea that the majority of people are not significantly affected by them is silly. We still think that. We tend to think we're alone in it, the same way that, when my wife, Heather, when we had a miscarriage, if you feel alone, because people don't talk about it. People have an abortion. People don't talk about it. They don't have these conversations because they don't want to, but they're actually very common. All of those things I just mentioned, both of them, by the way, are very common. And it's the kind of thing that people don't talk about these things, but it's common for all of us to have trauma, but we just don't discuss it. Not in polite company, dear Lord. I've become more sensitive as an adult. Late 20s, early 30s was when I made that statement too. And it's not against kids, at all. I'm old enough to call it kids, but I remember your outlook is going to shift and it's going to change. It does for everybody. And it's a weird thing. And it's a moment for all of us. That's amazing. But to continue reading, because of emotional intelligence I got to develop, because of psychoanalysis, it cured me of good. That's, I never became addicted to anything except cigarettes. Cigarettes, I smoked 2 packs a day for a very, very long time. Very long time. Junior high on. Big reason for that is I stayed away from anything that was deeply addictive, because I got to watch my cousin, who was like my older brother, do that. And I got to learn through him. And it ultimately took his life. And so I owe him, because he basically kept me off drugs. He doesn't know that because he's dead, but what can I say? What can I say? Fun times. Wish I had minimum speaking and production ability Pac-Man does. Hard to blame someone who managed to get popularity. You can get better at it. You have to do it. So let me give you tips on speaking, because this is a thing I am. There's only a handful of things I'll say that I have a skill at that I would say is probably in the upper levels of people. I've talked in front of groups that are 1,000, 2,000, 10,000, 60,000, 100,000 large. I've given, and it doesn't get to me in the same way that it did when I was younger. I used to have exceptional stage fright. The only way you do it is by doing it. Everything in life is a muscle. It's not that weightlifting works out your muscles, and people are like, muscles, you have to work them out. You have to tear them apart in order to break them. But that oversimplifies the thing that's actually happening, which is you are using and breaking and forcing something to be healed. That's not just how muscles work. That's how everything that exists work. That's how you function. You break and you fix. The nature of everything is that everything, and when I say everything, I mean every connection, every moment, every experience, everything ends. It dies. Everything dies. Always is always dying. And being reborn, something is being born. Not reborn really, but reborn. That process is healing. That process is destructive. They are together coalescing. If you don't work it out, you won't. But you can. And you can join the QC literally at any time. Ping someone and go, hey, I want to practice talking. People will join you. You'd be surprised. And no one knows your fucking name, so make up a fucking name and join it. It's Discord. It's anonymous. No one gives a shit. Just don't use a lot of slurs when you do it. But you need to do things. Senators, everything leads to death. Not in Freud's sense. No. Death is the actual connection and disconnection of everything. The desiring machines. It's not like Freud's death drive, but the reason there's a death drive is because everything we experience is the constant death of things. Klosowski talks about it probably my favorite way, which I've been saying a lot lately, I know. But as you go through and you experience things, it's not you experiencing things. You, as you see yourself, is the consistent thread through many versions of you. There's hungry Brooks, thirsty Brooks, tired Brooks, angry Brooks, frustrated Brooks, talking Brooks. All these Brookses are constantly being produced. And the thread, your brain, the center, is pulling through them and choosing what lives for a moment. And then the rest die. And then that one dies and another one takes its place. And this is ever happening. You are living and dying all the time. Always, always, always. And in that, you have the power to change. It's one of the beauties of it. By the way, do not read the Eclipse arc in Berserk manga if you cannot handle it. I've read all of it. I saw the movie Elephant 3 times. I can handle really weird, really specific. If you haven't seen the movie Elephant, I made this comment. Like you want the weirdest thing, and Rob is still generally upset about things because, to be fair, we sent him a copy of my book, and then about 3 weeks later he announced he was working on the screenplay, and then the screenplay is literally the story of my book, and it's fine. I think Rob's still mad about that, which I don't blame him on. One sec, I'm trying to find... One sec. I'm trying to find the moment in it. It's going to end up being the fucking trailer, of course. All right, so this will be fun. So here's this weird moment. If you haven't seen Elephant, hey, look, 2 shooters. One wearing a hat, one not. One dressed in black, one not. Carrying duffel bags is a guy in jeans with slightly floppy hair is walking out of school, going somewhere, runs into them and says, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Get out of here, go home." That's me. That's literally the story of my life. That's literally the thing that happened at Columbine. Not with both of them, just with Eric, just the one in the hat, who's the Eric in the story. And in the film, he drives to school that morning in a 240D Mercedes-Benz 1979 Aspen Gold. That's Aspen Gold painted. I know, because that's the car I drove. That was my car. It was my dad's first car. It was the car I bought off him after he bought off it's a long story. An old clunker diesel that could barely get it could go 45 miles per hour if you're going downhill. Old diesel, like fucking 2-pump. But lo and behold, it's exactly the car that the kid warned away drove to school that morning. There is, and then runs around literally this has always been fucking surreal for me to watch.
Don't come back.
Hey, sir, don't go in. Sir, don't go in there. Don't trust me. Just don't go in there.
Hey, look, and then he runs around warning people and yelling, going from house to house, trying to figure out what's happening. Super fucking surreal. Super surreal, like to watch. So I've watched a bunch of shit like that. This stuff doesn't really get to me in the same way. And it's always been very weird. It's always been weird. It's always been surreal. Deleuzian analysis of Berserk. So schizoanalysis of Berserk, I think, could be interesting. That would be a little bit further. The blonde kid's me. Yes, that's me. That's me. It's literally like things that happen in it are words I used. It's crazy weird. I don't feel anger at a depiction like that. No, it's not like he did it wrong. Like, it's not like he did it. He did fine. And I thought the film, mostly as I took it, and everyone else has their own ideas, but how I took the film was that it was intended to get across that it wasn't a special day. A lot of people, when they talk about school shootings, especially Columbine, they tend to think of it as this insurmountable day. But literally 5 minutes before, it was a boring nothing day. Like the minute before, everyone it meant nothing. And I think that's what he was doing building up to it, is he was showing that there was this banality of boringness that is just everyday life, and then everything goes awry. And I thought it was fine. Fine. He did Kurt Cobain's Last Day and the Last Days. It's kind of like, I mean, that's Gus Van Sant's thing, is showing that real life. I'm not a Van Sant fan, but I think he's done okay. It was fine. I've been portrayed in a lot of shit. There have been entire news programs that didn't even talk to me, that did like actors, like staged moments of my life. You want to talk about weird feelings, having someone send that shit to you. Dude, I saw you on TV. I'm like, this ain't fucking me. What the fuck? It's creepy. BBC does a lot of those. Fucking BBC. Were the Columbine shooters right-wingers? They were kids. I would say they were definitely people who would be susceptible to the alt-right. But I think a lot of people are in high school, to be perfectly frank. So, especially in middle America, I think it's a different thing. And when you don't give an alternative, what do you expect? So now back to comments. Parts of the majority report, when they talked about the show, pretty clearly they're not against that kind of funding going to building the left. They're against it from the perspective of it being part of the status quo project. All this can be debated, but there's just stuff implied in the video I don't think holds up. I'm not saying that as an offended fan of Majority Report. I'm not taking it as that, by the way. Taking issue only with using the clip implies they're part of a weaker moralistic critique. I actually think that Emma's response to this was absolutely a weaker moralistic critique. It was clear that she was live reading pieces that she hadn't read, and that she was only aware of it from the title or tweets that had said things about it. And I don't think any of them actually critically engaged with the article at all. I really think that was moralistic. And I think they've not, Sam hasn't weighed in on it. And I think generally, if I had to guess, Sam's take is going to be, they should have said they were part of it or had somewhere more clear. I agree with that, but I don't give a shit about where dark money's at. So again, Chorus funding these people was known, unless they didn't want it to be known, like the person who they were funding, which, by the way, that person's right. I'm not going to fight that either. But their funding, if you're up for it and you're sharing, I think it should be generally shared. But Chorus funding them was not the thing that's secret. What's not known and why it's a dark money org is the money that gets put into Chorus. But even that also isn't really secret. We have the Act Blue records. They'd be going up every quarter. I think it's every 6 months for 501c4s, not positive. So at some point we'd know all of the Act Blue donations. They apparently got 5,000 plus from regular people. So how much of their money went from that or from this other thing? My money, if I had to guess, is the dark money orgs that everyone's terrified of. They're not the majority. And if they are, you're again talking about a total of $450,000, 150, 300 grand from these guys. Come on. Like but even if it was, let me just steel man that other argument. Even if it was $10 million and every one of these people was getting $500,000 a year to do their YouTube thing, I still don't get it why it's an issue. And if Sam has a position other than they should have said they're getting money from an org, or there should be somewhere notifying, I'm okay with that. But demanding the two steps up where Chorus should do the same thing and everyone should, in this climate with Trump going after anyone, especially business people, in ways that he can because of how they put their money behind the Dems, I think that's a fucking bad take in this world. It's a really fucking bad take in this world. I'm taking issue only because I think the clip implies a part of weaker moralistic critique, part of the purity brigade, and that's not reflected in what they published so far. I think it is in that video. I think generally they're not, and that's why I think this upset me so much. I watch Majority Report every day. I'm a fan. I like them. I like Emma. I think Emma does very good, and I think generally avoids the moralistic, but this was not that. This was filled with resentment, anger, and frustration. The Vanguard did the same thing. I find it very distasteful. To the extent it can be said they engaged in it, it's not the thrust of their criticism, so the clip isn't warranted. To say everyone who was part of this is pro-Israel, I think is offensive. And I don't care if they only say it once. I think it's gross. Distract from the more important points here. That's fair. There's a reason I penned this. It's a very fair comment. I was frustrated by a lot of things, and I let that overwhelm me. Shame because you're saying things here I haven't heard anyone else say. I think your main points are valuable. It's probably, I got lost in it. I need to figure out how to redo that. It's very fair. It's fair. Oh, I did not heart it. I did reply and said thank you, but yeah. What an ignorant title. Dark money is not evil. No, dark money is not the problem, is the title. Very good response. See, you can tell this is good discourse. Your arguments are borderline moronic. You seem like the type who would sell out at the drop of a hat. Sell out. Love it. I love it. I love that shit. These fucking people. A guy who looks and dresses like this is running defense for no-name neolib influencers who are literally being paid by dark money because their politics align. Color me shocked. How about this one? Oh God, this motherfucker thinks the capitalists will fund the revolution. Only when we steal it from their banks, Westoid scum. And they left a few comments, by the way. These are purity tests because you say they are? Who are you calling a fascist? Why, you, actually. Why are you connecting this to that to this reporting? You're making the same mistakes as the Democrats. Oh yeah, no, bad empanada types, 100%. You're talking like truth doesn't exist, only narrative. Well, oh God, Joey, thank you. That's so good. That's so good. And you're going through this video as if the only problem is that people aren't convinced of the right narratives. No, that's literally not a point I make the entire thing. Meanwhile, there is zero indication that you have or even know what revolutionary consciousness is. We can't have unity without solidarity, motherfucker. Way to show it. Good job being the change you want to see in the world. Democrats do not have solidarity with the working class. They only have paternalism. Boy, I can't imagine I've ever done a video recently on the nature and danger of paternalism. Maybe I've got 3 or 4, maybe, and maybe it's not a pro-dem video. Again, you're not with me, therefore that's moralistic language. This is a slave mentality right there. Like, it's hardcore. Solidarity means walking, scooters, wheelchairs, what have you. Got to get the I'm not ableist in there. Got to prove it. Got to make sure that you signify in the same direction because you all know where you're going. Solidarity means walking in the same direction because you all know where you're going. Goal-oriented thinking is fascising. The Democrats are not going in the same direction as we the people. Literally, actually, if you care about dark money, they are. 100% of them, by the way. Unanimously, every single congressional year. Unanimously. And the presidents too, by the way. And the DNC. Right? That for them, their actual action, however much you may disagree that they say such things, but they've literally voted unanimously every single year, and all the votes have come down to one person on the Republican side who said they would and then changed their mind. Because these people who have allowed these things to be tabled say things like Rand Paul. He's one of them. Oh no, I'm going to allow this to be tabled because it's gross. Oh, I'm going to vote against it once it's voted on. Because they're liars. But the Dems actually vote when they're at that point. So yes. Not super familiar with slave mentality. Nietzsche, genealogy of morality. This is why I call it a moralistic take. So at some point we have a society long ago where the people in charge had slaves. Chattel slavery is not quite what it was, but it was a class who basically was at the bidding of the masters, who couldn't do anything unless the masters allowed it. The masters didn't have anyone above them. Hegel took this, and others took this as the master-slave dialectic, where the masters find their power in the slaves, and therefore are dependent on slaves. Slaves find their power in the master, dependent on masters. For Nietzsche, it's different. He didn't want to ultimately negate things and wanted to play instead with this idea of how someone in these positions affirmatively engages the world. Master mentality, the aristocratic mentality, doesn't care about any of these things, just does what it's going to do. They don't give a second thought to the slaves. Why would they? They don't need to. The slaves, though, all of the stuff that they can't do, that the masters do, they're aware of. And how they live with it and how they build it is by turning the fact that they can't do it into a good. The will of life finds a way, and it basically builds a system in which they go, hey, what we care about, what I care about, is that the people who do those things are bad. I don't do those things, therefore I'm good. And you see this in the writings of, most religions, which are built out of this. The self-censorship, self-care, control, minding yourself, not having a lot of things, not having stuff, making sure that you watch over yourself, controlling your lust, your everything. Masters don't give a fuck about this. They've never cared, and they still don't, by the way. But this lower class does, because they don't have those things. So not having those things makes you good. What happens is at some point a priest type comes along. Priest class is what Nietzsche comes to call it. But they're not really out of either class, just someone who goes, oh, I can use this, basically. And they go, yes, listen to me, and you will get rewards after you're dead. And in fact, I will show you how to live ascetically. And they actually weaponize that resentment as the slave morality. It's really, really powerful. It's really powerful to read about. Highly, highly recommend it. This is basically a demonstration of it. Have I talked about Maoist China on this channel? Not a lot, but I also haven't talked about Stalinist Russia on the channel. Maoist China is interesting because of how bad Mao was as a leader and the leadership. And I don't say that as someone who disagrees with a lot of kind of what he spoke of or how he wrote. Red Book's interesting, and it's a good, he understood how to change things. He really didn't grasp the idea of centralized state power or organization or how to deal with stuff, and murdered a lot of people because of it. But it's a really fascinating thing, but we haven't spent a lot of time on it now. But to keep reading, revolution is what Lenin led or wrote about, for example, not, for example, Deleuze and Guattari. Excellent. So revolution leads to mass oppression through centralized state mechanisms and the death of millions. Good work. Also, by the way, the quote I use, that whether or not they said it or not, the line, the capitalists will pay, let them buy the guillotine, that's a very slightly modified version of the famous one, which is the capitalists will, when we have our revolution, the capitalist will vie for the contract for the hanging. Or they'll sell us the rope we hang them with, which is the one attributed to Marx. This is Marx and Lenin, old school communist phrases. But again, because they're emotionally so opposed to what I'm saying, and it's moralistic in nature and very much reactionary, they're not able to see that they're literally now arguing with things that they've probably a week or two ago attributed to their heroes. Mao's policies were also no, he was a shit state leader, statesman, awful statesman. Don't get me wrong. Again, that's the part but that's the part for me that makes it interesting. I find the way that these things change over time and how they form and how they do the opposite of what they claim or how they end up working against what they sort of built. I find that fascinating. You should too, by the way. Now, for example, Deleuze and Guattari. Well, it's fantastic. These are fantastic. Go to hell, motherfucker. Crucify your ego. You're talking 100% shit here. You need revolutionary consciousness in order to do revolution. I need to wake up. See, pull my head out of my ass. Read actual revolutionary material. Deleuze and Guattari never did a revolution, dude. Joey has done revolutions. By the way, Mao still achieved things. Again, you people, has no one heard the words I've been saying? Has no one heard the words I've been saying in this? I did not say Mao did nothing. I said I don't like where he ended. I think it's you people. Oh, fuck you. Truth exists, motherfucker. Not just narrative or discourse or power or gossip. Wake the fuck up. You will never become a real revolutionary until you can identify and utilize truth, motherfucker. Nobody said evil except you, dude. Actually, not true. Who said anything but evil, dude? Why the fuck are you going there? Just say you hate women. I also hate men, but I hate women. I hate anyone who claims that they have a absolute certainty of what their gender is, because I think it's funny. Because the people who are just being who they are don't care about gender at all. A man will softly carry a baby. That's not masculine. That's mom shit. It's woman shit. Women they'll do, it's fuck. One of my favorite things about the cooking world, and Chef Ramsay did this on live television. I couldn't fucking believe it. But there's an old line that women can't be chefs. It's a real thing. He said it on TV. I couldn't believe it. But the line goes, women cook, men are chefs. That's a fucking real line that people use. Because sexism, that kind of sexism, I am not a fan of. I do not like women. I do not like men. I do not like these totalized definitions of things. So they're right. I do hate women, but I also hate men. Wild thumbnail, bro. I really like my butthole thumbnails. I'm a fan of anything goatsy. I would love to see Brick speak with content creators at the center of the drama and help them get radicalized. I probably couldn't. The chances of convincing someone to drastically change their position, especially if they're in their 30s or 40s, is basically zero. You got vaxxed. I thought they banned all the vaccines in the US. They did. It's a whole thing. Where's the losing Guattari's repressive state project? Well, they did. They didn't do the revolution, but they did found the Soviet Union, I guess. I never liked Taylor Lawrence, but this is a count for comment. I love people who do that. Because I dislike people that targeted. Yes, dark money is sometimes needed. Yes, it is structural, but Chorus misspent it. They screwed up our chances, tried to create Republican light, and destroy dissent in the party. I don't see any of that. I literally don't see any of that. So, okay. They should have spent it on different people. First off, we don't have an exhaustive list at all. There's 90 people in the cohort. I could find named 11, maybe 12. So it's 80 people we don't know the name of or who they are. So weird, creepy. They screwed up our chances, tried to create Republican light. How did they do that? That part is not at all talked about. They're not pro-DNC messages. David Pakman's more lib and centrist and even right-wing, as far as I'm concerned, than a lot of people. But there's also people who are decidedly pro-Zoran. A lot of very pro-Zoran shit. Even Pakman's doing pro-Zoran stuff. So like, what? No. They screwed up our chances. No. Destroyed dissent in the party. I don't see that at all. Brian Taylor, Cohen, and Pakman are obvious shills. What does this mean? Do you believe they only say what they do because they're being paid by someone to say those things? I don't. I think they're generally neoliberal, middle of the road people who are anti-Trump for whatever reasons. But the idea that they're like shills, what does that mean? They acted higher than thou and hid the Democrats. They didn't. Wow, you are the worst. I'm editing my comment just so it gets unpinned. I'm not giving you the satisfaction. Oh, well then you get repinned. Let's see, what are the two comments? They got mad that I pinned it when they said I was the worst. I'm editing my comment so it gets unpinned. That's funny. And Sunday, well, that's what I keep trying to tell everyone. I know, right? You refuse to do any more in the fold content. I said, me too. See, we'll even thumbs up them. They're repinned. So, but again, do you see the username? See the username? Now I know, I'm 100% certain this is a slur. I have no doubt. And it's probably offensive to people, and I apologize if it hurts your feelings seeing this. But 100% I had to leave it because this is the people who are doing this. It's 100% slurry. It's like, or it's too much not to be. The B in Brooks stands for based. Oh, hey, problem. How you doing? The Trislayer. Is there not value in itself in creating a culture that shames new media for not revealing their sponsors? Sponsors is not. So again, this is where we have a lot of specifics. If I'm going to pay you for a piece of content and you're doing a piece of content and I'm sponsoring that piece of content, I'm a sponsor of that content. These words have meanings. If I'm going to give you $50,000 to keep making content, am I a sponsor? I'm a Patreon. I'm a patron. But how does that work? Do we want to be in a place where we reveal names? Sure. But there's two big problems here. One is we have not only no power, but we are under attack. If there is an influencer out there, let's say there is, I know of a few who are absolutely anti-ICE and who are actively doing work to say, here's where ICE is, and they're sharing these things. They are being funded by other people who are giving them money. Do you want those names broadcast? Do you want us to tell everyone those names? Why not? Why is that suddenly not them? Oh, yeah, because you're aware that those people would be targeted. Those people would be targeted by the state apparatus who's against them. What is different about that versus everything else? The others are ones that you just don't necessarily agree with, but they would be targeted, but you don't agree with 100% of what they're doing. Oh, so it's about you. It's about you. It's about you. None of this has anything to do with the reality situation. Dems and Republicans are the same. It's this critic is only based on theory and fact and reality. Okay. That's not a sentence. That's not a sentence. It's just not a sentence. Let me try to parse it. All right. None of this has anything to do with the reality situation. I disagree. Good job. Dems and Republicans are the same, except for the ways that I literally named in the video. You could say, sure, but again, if you don't like dark money and you're not supporting Democrats, you're doing nothing to change things you want to change. Nothing. You should be supporting the Democrats. Vote for them. You don't have to give them money. But if you are screaming about how, oh, Democrat and leftist institutions are taking money, hey, I'm going to share a fantastic magazine, Newsmag. If none of you know Hammer and Hope, you fucking should. First off, you fucking should. Hammer and Hope is amazing. It's a magazine of black politics and culture. I will give them that. I'm not going to be shitty about it. I don't like this level of vidpol, but the writing, you go past it. It's so fucking good. To beat ICE, we need to shift the battlefields from the state houses and courthouses to the streets. This is a great article written here by Edgar Franks. If you don't know Edgar Franks, go Hammer and Hope. I challenge anyone to show me how this is not based fucking good revolutionary leftism. This is 100% based good revolutionary leftism. Really, let's read. On July 14th, that's my birthday, god damn it, my friend Alfredo Juarez Zeferino, better known as Lelo, went before an immigration judge inside the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement Detention Center in Tacoma, where he had been for months facing deportation. Lelo was one of the original organizers of Familias Unidas por la Justicia. I'm not Mexican or don't speak Spanish very badly. A union of indigenous Mixteco and Triqui farm workers from Mexico. He'd been building it since 2013 when he was 13 years old. This fucking dude. In early May, the judge denied his bail, saying she did not... Oh, this woman. Sorry. Wait. I feel so stupid. Alfredo Juarez Zeferino, better known as Lilo, where he had been held for months. Oh, the judge had denied his bail, saying she's the judge, did not... Goddamn, that sentence is written confusing. In the holding room, blah, 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 blah. We're going to just go straight through. An example of how to ramp up organizing came from Los Angeles, which ICE intentionally targeted. I visited the city as everything unfolded, saw mobilizations throughout the city. Even the smaller groups were determined to shut ICE out. The police were everywhere, battle-clad officers, blah, blah, blah. As protests pushed back, we knew the Trump administration would try to increase intimidation, and the military came in. I'm skipping as we read, because this is a very long piece. The law puts us at a disadvantage. Where we have leverage is in the streets. Fuck! That's a line! That's the line! That's the line. That's the line. Right now is the perfect time for everyone to unionize, the community to unionize, not only for economic benefits, but also because unions are political tools that make forceful demands. That's what he's basically saying, is that every person needs to unionize. We need to all get together and actually literally go out into the streets, that we need to do things and say, fuck the rules. Fuck the way they do things. Fuck all the setup. This is fire reporting. Immigrants are the canaries in the coal mine. Even if all immigrants are detained and deported, the civilian military occupation will remain, and when it needs to justify both its presence and funding, it will go after other unwanted populations. This is not the standard democratic line. You're free to show me this being something anyone in the DNC has said. Zoran has said this. Actually, a handful of, I would say, good Dem governors. But you tell me this is like the Democratic Party line as a thing? It's bullshit. This is leftism. This is Hammer and Hope. Let's read some other article names. Building an opposition to survive the Trump era. From T-Pain and clips to Chaka Khan, meet the humble genius behind NPR's Tiny Desk concerts. Very, very cool story, by the way. If you didn't know, it's a black dude, dude of color. And Tiny Desk is like the best thing in the history of the world. Fucking love him. The false choice between identity politics and economic populism. Oh my God. Good writing. With a left that ignores the difference within the working class will never build power. Fucking, That's, by the way, this anti-IDPOL and anti-classism. This is understanding how the lens of identity politics is supposed to be applied. Hi, Vi. What are you doing? She's just running around screaming. Great article. This is very much like a very revolutionary Venezuelan migrants, the black church, an experiment in solidarity. In Kenya, Gen Z battles corruption and police violence. Zoran Mondani helped us love New York. We helped New Yorkers hate Andrew Cuomo. I adore this. Scrappy leftist organizers are learning their political campaigns can succeed by being creative and speaking the truth in interesting ways. What if we viewed ICE detentions as a community problem to solve? This is leftist writing. This is Hammer and Hope. Hammer and Hope is funded by 1630. This is the dark money group. They're funding this. Yeah, same dark money group as Chorus. This fucking shit I just read is being funded by 1630. Do you need proof of that? One moment, just because it's fair. Hammer and Hope. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. 1 sec, I just have a bunch of shit in here. All right. Influence Watch. If you don't know Influence Watch, you can go there and see who's funded by who and everything. It's interesting. Hammer and Hope, Black Radical Project Digital Magazine. As a far left, it is far left. This is actual far left, by the way. Good far left, but it is far left. That promotes a variety of far left, left of center political stances, ideologies. Magazine founded by Jen Parker and Kinga Yamata Taylor, and is a project of the New Venture Fund. Do you know the New Venture Fund? 1630. That's 1630. This is part of that larger group of advocacy. There you go. There you go. So, this is also, because we don't know where the money comes from, also a target of Taylor Lorenz. This is a target of Taylor Lorenz. As far as I'm concerned, she did nothing to denote why this is any different in any capacity. because we don't know. We know New Venture is involved, but we also know that with Chorus and again with the streamers. So it is dark money, but that's the problem. They shouldn't be taking it because money. By the way, Hammer and Hope is awesome, and you should absolutely check it out. Aerobics. I got the Bux Palma. And how is the Bux Palma? I've never used the Bux Palma. Bux is, for those who don't know, BOOX. They're the writing pad I use. It's a digital ink pad. So it's like an iPad, but e-ink with a pen. I've found it to be invaluable when reading because I get a lot of PDFs and everything. It's not dark money if they publish a funding source, but that's the fun part. New Venture is dark money. So it's dark money. There's no knowledge of where the money comes from except from a 501c4. There is no funding source for Hammer and Hope, Cosmo. This is dark money. This is a target of the same thing. Feel free to explain to me how this serves the democratic interests. It's not dark money if they publish a funding source. They didn't. New Venture is 1630. Again, justify however you want. Publicly funded? It's not publicly funded. The New Venture is 1630. It is dark money. It's the same group. They're not publicly funded at all. And I don't care because their writing is amazing. It's interesting and revolutionary. And on their website, unless I missed it, we can take a look. Let's see. About. Oh, yeah. I wonder why they don't have a 501c4 in here. Oh, yeah, because a 501c4 isn't allowed to be a thing that sponsors particular content. So we only know they got that money from someone else's reporting. No. Jesus fucking Christ. Correct. Hammer and Hope doesn't publish that they got, because they can't legally say, this 501c4 wants our content, and therefore that. So here's their about page. Contact, get in touch. Do you hate them too? Fuck these people? I know nothing about this organization. You know nothing about the thousands of organizations that also get money from New Venture, New Alliance, 5 or 6 other really interesting names that are all part of the larger 1630 group, which is all dark money. All of them are 501c4s. It's all dark money. They could be getting money from Israel. You have no idea where the money comes from. No, if you're on the side of Hillary Rins, you are. Because anyone who got money from Chorus or what Chorus is doing and is angry about that 450,000 because they got it from dark money, then this is in the same problem. This is saying, oh, also these are also immoral. What Hammer and Hope is doing is also immoral. It's wrong. And you need to fix it. Feel free to explain to me how this is different. It's not. It's fundamentally the same thing. It's just different because we like them. And you like them. And you're inclined to like them. It's the only reason, by the way. If you're nicer to them, if you're nicer about this after all of this, it's because you just like what they're saying. And that is, you're not on any side just trying to understand perspective. You were pretty clear, but okay. Chorus did nothing wrong by paying people what they were paying them. People did nothing wrong in the way that they handled that money or reported on it, because those are the laws around 501c4s. That's it. That's my stance. That's the laws, and I don't give a shit. None of the statements about people changing their statements or anything was true. People didn't change any of their stuff. Dark money makes selective situations. That's the problem. Oh, no money should be dark. Correct. Correct. But if there is dark money, why does it matter? Because at that point, you're basically saying, oh, I won't take money because it's dirty money. Where was I clear? I just joined the chat. Yes. Cosmo. We'll get there, though. The issue isn't that some people took funding from a Democrat-aligned dark money group. It's that every step of this process was hidden from the public because that's what a 501c4 is. And again, how they work. The material relationships between the content creators, the intermediary course, and the dark money group 1630 were obscured. Maybe. Again, they're obscured because we come from a position of knowing about it and being told about it and not having known before. David Pakman had on his website Chorus and a donation link and what they were doing. He made videos about it multiple times. So did Brian Taylor Cohen. Multiple content creators made videos about applying to it, getting in, and being accepted. Others made content about what they did, but Chorus isn't doing a lot. They teach you how to make better thumbnails. That's not video content for politicians. So they're not going to make, again, what is it that you wanted then? They didn't make this public. They didn't scream it up. What did you want? Like, what is the thing you want? What do you think Matt Leftist states that the left should be better to hold the left of tires? That is, you can be as proud as you want about not taking dark money from a concentration camp as you like. I'd rather not be in a concentration camp. And if where we end up is a place where no one's in concentration camps, but there's dark money, I'll take it. And then I'll work on that. Let's not have people in concentration camps first. How about that? Rather than how someone's getting $5,000 or $8,000 a month so they can make content or be part of a thing. Is that really at all on anyone's radar? Like, what's the thing? What's the thing you wanted? What is the setup? Because if it's, we should be better. It's like, cool. When you say that, and by the way, this is why I use the term as dark money evil. We should be better implies that that's bad. Why is it bad? I haven't had anyone describe to me why it's bad. Signaling it that dark money is bad. Yes, dark money is bad. I take dark money and it's illegal. That's bad. If no one can take dark money and I take it, that's bad. But if dark money is legal and that's fucking in the game, this is rules of warfare. Gentlemanly, lib mentality rules of warfare. You got two countries, and this country is big, and they invade other country. And then other country goes, oh, well, I'm just going to do a bunch of stuff to try to win. And they do asymmetric warfare, terror attacks, awful shit. Well, that's ungentlemanly. No, it's defending themselves. You have expensive big weapons that are somehow legal in war and allowed in war and gentlemanly in war. These other people are throwing poop in socks at you, but that's ungentlemanly. They use chemical weapons. Yeah, they don't want to die. If you come over the hill trying to kill me, I'm not going to give a shit. I'm defending myself. Gentlemanly is not the thing that matters. Gentlemanly matters only to people who are married to the status quo in some capacity. Like, it's stupid. This is how to repeat the mistakes of the KPD in Weimar. This is, yeah. I can see some leftists critiquing an appeal to authority when mentioning the law. Yeah, well, they don't understand how things work. And again, I'm up for not having laws. I really am at heart an anarchist and very married to that and wanting to live in a place like that. I don't like these things. However, I don't know of a way for us to have a revolution that wouldn't end up killing anyone who's a marginalized person who's dependent on the current system. If we're okay with that at large, that's a discussion worth having. I'd rather not have everyone die. Right? If you're diabetic, a revolution would kill you, where we got rid of laws and money. You'd be dead. Enjoy that. Cosmo, but where money comes from does matter. No, it doesn't. You don't have to be moralistic about it, just realistic. I am being realistic. I've there are studies. It shows that it does not matter. Auditing your resources is fine as part of strategy. Doesn't matter. Some folks get moralistic and hyper about the auditing process. That's a problem, but that doesn't mean we don't ask those. You can ask all the questions you want. Dark money is not a problem because it changes people's opinions who are at the end of the line. Dark money is a problem because it elevates and selects people and actually puts people in power, generally, that may not otherwise organically. That's it. It's cynical. But that's the thing. Dark money, in that sense, is only doing what wealth disparities have done already. A lot of the people who are successful in the current modern landscape are there because they had family money and relatively were in a position where they could do whatever the fuck they wanted for 10 or 15 years and eat shit in order to build up a channel. They didn't have other forms of income. They wouldn't have been able to do that. That's just how that works. A lot of people who are, Asmongold is a great example. The world, I used to make the joke that the world of YouTube and social media is basically a fight between the idle rich and people who are on social security benefits. Because those are the two people who have the time. That's it. And so when you talk about like this setup that puts people in the position to be able to make content for 10 hours a day and do reaction streams, I'm not hating on anyone. That's the reality. Most people can't do this. It's tiring and it's brutal and it takes time. But money coming in doesn't change the person doing it. Money selects who gets elevated. Where it comes from, kind of interesting, doesn't actually matter. It actually doesn't matter at all. Who's being elevated matters. If you want to be upset about that, that's fine. That's fine. But that's not what the article does. The article is just simply shaming dark money in a time when absolutely it makes no sense to do so. And again, shaming it on the side that has unanimously 100% put forth the legislation and the votes to change that. So it's the most impotent writing and thing to be angry about that exists. Good work. Good work. Things always matter to varying degrees. No, actually, studies have shown that people getting money doesn't change their opinion. We know this. We know how politics has worked for 200 or 300 fucking years in electoral systems. We've known how it's worked for 50 years and 10 or 15 as we've had more studies and more money pour into politics than ever. People don't have their opinions swayed by being given money from one actor or another. Those actors that have that money select people and pre-select people to pump them up. The idea that people are being given money to fight for Israel who didn't and who are pro-Palestine beforehand is fucking stupid. People who are being given money by Israel are already on the side of Israel, or sociopaths, I guess. But people who are pro-Palestine aren't suddenly, oh, actually today, I learned that, I've been doing all of this for years and I've cared about people's rights, but I did get a check. That's fucking not how it works. That's not how any of this works. You're not saying people have their opinions changed by money. It's obviously more. Then how does money affect it? If it's more complex than that, you've got to do work to actually show that this matters at all. Like, you can't keep chasing this. This is the fucking scourge of this shit. When you make an affirming statement where you say this is the thing, and it's like, well, I didn't mean it's part of a complex thing. Okay, and then show me how it's a thing that matters. Like, you can't just say obviously it matters because it doesn't exist obviously. The narrative and system and symbolic and representational systems you're utilizing are absolutely predicated on a handful of axioms that I do not share in how you view the world. You need to go through the work to actually make that clear. If instead what you do is what Taylor's piece does and everyone else who's talking about this, talk about vibes and moralism. If that's your jam that you want to do, own it. That's fine. If you want to say it's from a moral position because God on high or some Jesus or fucking Xenu is making you say this and you agree with Xenu, that's fine. I'm not going to fucking fight you on it. But you cannot just say, well, it's obviously it does, because it doesn't. Where your income comes from changes how you move? Not true. It's just not true. If I work for FedEx, that obviously changes how I move relative to working at U-Haul. That's true. Does it change your opinion about Israel? It is a moral argument. It's explicitly a moral argument. It's explicitly a moral argument. Like, Cosmo. Here. Is Taylor Lorenz then not able to make this commentary because her family is wealthy due to the real estate market and being part of that in Greenwich, Connecticut and New York and various other places as home builders for the ultra wealthy? Can you just dismiss everything she's saying because that's the money and where her money comes from? I don't think so. I think that's stupid. What if she says right things are good things? Well, who cares? But people also aren't talking about it. Where the money comes from, if it matters everywhere. It matters in every way. I would argue that it doesn't. What you say and what you do is what matters. What you say and what you do is what matters. And if people are, and there are people who are pro-Palestinian and anti-Zionist in the chorus cohort, the majority of people that I've seen are anti-Democrat, certainly anti-DNC. If they're pro-shitty Dems, that's one thing, but they're anti-DNC and wanting change from the party and they want it to do more. All of that stuff is like, you feel free to say, oh, that's because they're getting Democrat-aligned money that they're slightly edged. No, they're being selected because Brian Taylor Cohen is really, really huge. His channel's fucking massive. And he went to 1630 and said, hey, I have an idea. I want to build a cohort of people on the left. I want to teach them how to stream and how to do stuff because this thing is a thing we need to do. He's not wrong, by the way. I don't know how to do fucking thumbnails. I'm starting to learn. This one apparently pissed people off. I don't know how to do general like editing for this type of thing. I can edit films. This is not it. I don't really know how to write essays. I have trouble with it, as you can see from this one. People can teach me all these things. Please do. And also give me 6 months of pay so that way I don't have to work while I'm doing it and I can figure out this whole thing. What do you say and do matters? It is what matters. The context around what affects you, I'm simply pointing to the connection. That is, then that, I'll agree with you. Then this is as unimportant or important as whether or not the person ate McDonald's that week. Show me that it's more important. Otherwise, it's a moral argument. That's it. It's a moral argument because of that. Like, everyone in history who's ever been an actual revolutionary, that's one of the reasons I really love this cocksucker. These people up here, this guy Joy Rufo, who's screaming at me, that's why I like him. Well, I don't like him, but it's the reason I like his posts, because it's so crisp and clear that he has never actually understood what a revolution is. No one who's ever changed anything did so with a pure conscience. Ever. FDR, I believe, is the most important president in the last 150 years, maybe 200 years. Singly the most important president. Changed the face of the country. He was a rich guy from a very wealthy, politically connected family. So was his wife, who was probably a lesbian. Real story. Fun stuff. Even at the time, there were rumors. He not only had to be the person we put our faith in, but he had to make compromises across the board with his coalition in order to build it in the first place. If you don't know the story of FDR and the New Deal, you fucking should. FDR was not a class trader. FDR understood. This is why I like FDR. FDR understood that if shit kept going in that way, his class would be killed. He was right. So he went, so what we need to do is we need to build a more sustainable economy that exploits people generally less, but still exploits them enough for us to stay rich. He kind of talked about it like this. If you haven't actually seen his talks, businesses need to do this because this is how you make a sustainable economy. He talked about it openly like this. And he worked with capitalists. He worked with leftist groups. He worked with socialist groups. He worked with anti-communist religious hate groups of like insane shit. And he got his shit done. Lenin would fucking have sucked dick in order to get that revolution done. He would have blown John Smith. Like he would have found, he didn't give a fuck. He was a dirty revolutionary, good, fascinating, crazy dude. But he would have done anything. This shit, this purity shit, there's truth, blah, 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 you gotta do, blah, blah. You're never doing anything because all you do and all this piece does, and it's what I said at the end there, is create self-policing mentalities in the individuals within capitalism who will immediately, constantly look at themselves and hate themselves. Oh my God, am I doing the wrong thing? Oh God, will people judge me? Oh God, am I not a true leftist anymore? Instead of looking at, hey, what am I doing? Am I producing in people more emancipatory politics? Am I moving things forward? Am I doing stuff that I can be generally proud of every day? Am I able to look at my kids in the eye when they wake up in the morning? Am I allowed to be proud of who I am? It's not easy, but you do what you fucking can to make change and to make your life better. That's it. That's it. And every revolutionary in history, Che Guevara, not a morally pure person. None of them are. Because they understood that actually we need to deal with people as they are. I had that phrase in there. Sunday balked at a couple people have, because it's the old, Obama even used it, the good, perfect being the enemy of the good. I took it one step because I think it goes one step further. Perfect is the enemy of the possible, but possible is the enemy of the actual. When we sit here and we're talking about what I can do, I need to realize my hands are the shape that they fucking are. They're the color that they are. They're in the position that they're in. They have as much calluses as they do, money they do, ability to move and change as they do. My hands are in a position in this world attached to the things that they're attached to and in the world they're attached to. I have to know what I can do with my hands. That's the actual. What I could do, well, I could become a great pianist. Yeah, go for that. I could be pure if I did X, Y. No, these are the hands I have. They're going to hold hands with someone else who has their fucking hands. Who's going to hold hands with someone else who has their fucking hands. Their hands, their life, their history, their calluses. And we're going to move together as one. That's how it works. This shit, crucify your fucking ego. Eat shit, you're judging people. And where someone's money comes from, I don't give a shit. I don't. Because at the end of the day, the content they put out is either emancipatory or not. It's either helping people understand that they need to allow themselves to be more free, less censorious, less worried, less anxious, less paranoid about everything they do as they take that step forward, and they're able to be proudly where they are. They're able to be where they're at and help others around them. Or I'm teaching people that they need to be careful about who they align with, that they need to watch out, that the right kind of people in the right kind of way who are backed by hyper-capitalist systems like Wired and YouTube, those people might judge me. And they are the ones to judge. I'm not arguing against an amorality or for morality. I don't believe in morality. Sorry, I don't. It's not a thing that's concerned me. I think there's an ethics that people can have, and it is a long discussion to understand the difference between the two of those. But morality is transcendent. I don't believe in transcendence in any capacity like that. I think it's a silly thing to do, to say that these are the rules, that there's no reason otherwise. I think it's silly. And I think we have to take everything contingently and understand the position, the people involved, what the outcomes are and where they may be and what the information is available at the time. The Black Panther Party I use them as an example. Yes. But they would also be careful about taking money from cops. Do you understand the difference of why they wouldn't take money from cops? Because they didn't want to be seen as being corrupt and be able to be charged for it. They took money from various people that you would be horrified by. They talk about this. All of them have talked about every revolutionary group. They get paid by fucking counter presidential groups in these countries. If you don't think that like the commie groups, the countercultural Black Panthers were funded by Russian oligarchs, they were. They were backed by Russia. Does it matter? Russia was a totalitarian, horrifying, nightmarish state that was working counter to America and trying to create destabilization by funding them. Should they not have taken that money? No. They did good with it. Do good with the fucking money. Make content that you can be proud of. Did they make shitty content? David Pakman does, but they're not being, again, David Pakman ain't the thing. Other people were making very good content. I used it, Allie, as an example, and others have. Go watch her content. It ain't for me, but I'm not part of the next generation on TikTok. She's got a bunch of followers. It's clearly working. Who gives you a fuck? There's no strings attached. Like, this is the other part of it that's, you're going to bounce back and forth. Show me strings. Showing parts of a contract in a vacuum that doesn't acknowledge the legal realities of what a 501c4 is not a critique. It's a criticism. It's within a system, within a moment, not understanding the systemic workings of the thing. If you want to critique it, you have to stand outside of it and look at the system that it is a part of. When Chorus says, anything that uses our name, you have to fucking run by us. They're not saying for political, they may be saying, whatever. They're saying, but they have to, because if they didn't have that clause, which is what you're advocating, them not having that clause, I don't understand how that could be written otherwise. You are specifically saying that Chorus can't censor, but they legally have to. They legally have to. They have to censor. If someone put out a piece and said, hey, you know what? Actually, we're this piece about Israel, pro-Israel, being paid for by Chorus. The 501c4 is gone, fined up the ass, and people go to jail. Under Trump, they're probably deported. They're probably disappeared. Is that cool? Is it fair that people with good intentions will question someone's incentives? Questioning incentives means you don't care about the actual output. It means you're trying to go within the other thing because you yourself are within your own thing. I was responding to someone else, Cosmo, because that's kind of how chat works. Always. Always is, always has been. I'm not drinking coffee. I'm having tea. It's in a coffee pot. A friend got us, Jack from the QC. So it's a coffee pot, but it's actually just Earl Grey. All right, Cosmo. I'll go back. I'll read. It's really valuable to reflect on how bank robbers and gangsters end up playing critical emancipatory roles. What is the robbing of a bank compared to the founding of one? Like, every other person involved in this, all of them, are utilizing money from a system in a system that is being powered by it. Where do we draw the line? Where do we set this up? And if the line is, well, I want to know where every dollar comes from, you don't. Hassan is paid for primarily through advertising, but donos and advertisements because of his audience. Do you know that there's a step beyond? Because you know he's getting paid by that advertiser, but where'd that money come from? How many steps do you need to know? Chorus is funded by 1630. Is funded by who? We have those lines. Like, we literally had those before too. So what's the line? How many steps down the road do we have to do? I'm writing a book. Well, I've got two, but I've been writing, it's a long story. He no longer advertisers according to Twitch. Well, he doesn't, again, who's paying him? Donos, Patreon? Who's putting money into Patreon? Who cares? Well, now they're useless as a group. Cool. Do you know how you can make sure they're useless as a group? Is 4 weeks into the cohort, which is where they were when this article came out, you can destroy the entire thing and make sure none of those people are enjoyed and that every comment on everything is about how they're paid for by dark money in Israel and AIPAC, where they lose subscribers because of it. And you literally destroy those channels. That's it. I showed earlier that one guy, who's like horrified about all of this situation. It's just so gross. No, we're not. That's what it was called. It was called No, We're Not. Where did I put it? There it is. This dude. No, we're not paid DNC or AIPAC propagandists. He's losing money and subscribers and Patreons and everything because of this. This guy wasn't useless before. How is this guy useless before? You don't know what he's done. You're totalizing. This is why I say it's moralizing. You're totalizing all of them as a thing, as a setup. Oh, they were this, they were that, they were all of this. No, you're talking about a massive group of people, at least 100 human beings. Exactly. But you're making my point. It's really frustrating, Cosmo. Very frustrating. This guy runs 2 nonprofits himself. Task Force Butler, we'll look at these. She's going to be like, oh, it's Task Force Butler Institute, Veterans Fighting Fascism. This is his thing. Fight for Democracy and American Values. 501c3 nonprofit, which trains veterans in research and operations to counter extremism, teaching skills and context necessary to keep veterans and communities safe as they gather intelligence on dangerous individuals and organizations. I'm not totalizing the critique. I literally showed multiple versions of it. We can go watch. You've got to be fucking with me here, my friend. Like, I don't get it. State the critique then. I'll give you three quotes, or you can go to the QC and you can write it in a long thing. State the critique. State their critique. State what the article is. State your version of it, how you see it. State the critique. Take as long as you want. You got 20 minutes for right now. You write whenever. A little bit. See, quit being a dickhead, dude. Quit being a dickhead. It's just frustrating. So here's a veterans group that's quoting Smedley Butler. If you don't know who Smedley Butler is, you should. But this is one of his groups. Basically, he's trying to counter what has been happening to a lot of veterans as they've come out of the military, found no work because no one wants to hire a veteran for a few reasons. And with that, they're pushed into extremism because their own groups are naturally militaristic, right-wing, and reactionary. And it's a challenge. He is not that, though. Here is his anti-fascist book club. Good stuff, actually, generally speaking. And it's how to set it up and put it together. It is literally just trying to teach good theory. Is it great? No, it's good. Supporting him, I don't get the problem. I don't get the problem.
Massive institution, and this article, that's $8,000 a month, which is pretty fucking significant. Now, I do not engage in this creator versus creator drama thing. I don't do reaction videos, so this video might be a little different from what you're used to seeing from me. For those of you who don't already follow me, my name is Chris Goldsmith, former United States Army Sergeant, founder of Task Force Butler Institute and Veterans Fighting Fascism. These are nonprofits that train veterans to conduct open source intelligence research to hold extremists accountable for things like racist violence. We conduct investigations, we do infiltration.
If you don't know, it's interesting shit, and they've done some very good work. Because again, we need this. And this guy will never directly say it. He's very much on our side.
Of extremist organizations, we gather evidence of criminality and provide it both to victims and to law enforcement so that we can hold these people legally. In a program that I applied for, Source Intelligence, I'm a threat intelligence analyst. I am someone who goes into the darkest places of the internet so that I can find out what criminals or soon-to-be criminals are planning to do or doing, and I provide.
No, and Cosmo, I always love a good back and forth. I need more though, because I was responding to a few other people as we were going. But I've read the articles, I've read the responses. Oh, the audio is still low. It's full here. He's quiet again. First off, good beard. He is quiet. I've got it full in here too. Cosmo, please type a larger thing. I'll respond to it at some point. I'll respond to it at some point. Where is this? No window. There you are. Boom. Let's see if I can boost you. Fuck it. Let's just go way up. Fuck it. We'll see what happens.
Safe and evidence to law enforcement so that those victims can find.
Jesus Christ, really?Maybe now? This video player is terrible.
And I provide warning to potential victims.
That's like, that's a 20%, that's 120% boost. So he's just a quiet guy. I'll put the captions on.
So that they can keep themselves safe, and evidence to law enforcement so that those victims can find justice.
And they've actively done this. There's multiple cases where they helped bust white supremacist groups, instigating groups, a lot of white nationalists they've gone after. I'm aware of it because this is a thing that this guy does that affects, I think, Portland, Washington, Idaho more than a lot of places, but it's everywhere.
One of the beneficiaries of my work, someone who I've done research to support, is Taylor Lorenz. I am one of the people who has been, and I'm not anymore, but has been responsible for gathering intelligence about threats to Taylor Lorenz's life or well-being.
It's actually a really interesting story.
Working with her former employers and their intelligence and security staff, working with law enforcement, and working with platforms and internet servicers to keep that person safe. And I have watched from the point of view of a threat intelligence analyst.
If anyone wants to join the Discord, you head over to discord.gg/DGQC in any web browser. Right in. And you can join. And we got a little space for newbies to say hello, talk to each other if you're not familiar with the space, because it's a weird one. We are a weird space. Don't join trying to debate everybody about really, really stupid shit. Bad call. I don't run the space. As much as I am, in theory, total control, and I jokingly call myself the despot, the moderation and staff is actually all done by large-scale votes. And if there is dissent significantly for any action, it doesn't happen. We tend to require an almost unanimous or an exceptional plurality of things for change. And because of that, I don't run it. You'll see me around, and I annoy people more than anyone. But for sure, please donate to defend our juries for Palestine. Let me make sure that's a real thing. Not that I don't trust you, Gingros. Pasha can't join because Pasha got banned because of such a unanimous vote. If you go in and you troll a lot, you get fucking tossed out as well. Defend our juries. To bring public attention program. Interesting. Bring attention to the program to undermine trial by jury in the context of those taking action to expose. Oh God, what is the UK doing now? Oh God, jury nullification. Motherfucker. Oh, so, dude, this seems like a good cause. Yeah, seems like a good cause. Gingros. All right, I let it go. Harrison says, hey, have you ever heard of Basilian Thought? He's a right-winger on Twitter, but his thoughts on dark money funding remind me of yours. Well, that scares me. Basilian Thought, I'm going to guess, is a really wild name. Roko's basilisk crap. Oh, no. Oh, it's monk shit. Basilian Thought on X. Let's see. Well, that account does not exist, so no idea. Posted somewhere in the Discord. We'll see. Oh, bear bacteria. Oh no. I mean, he may have the right take. Who fucking knows? Doesn't this all reference Deleuze's micropolitics? Well, this is base level shit in Anti-Oedipus. One of the core things that you have to sort of realize as you exist in the world is that the family, our lives are built in a way in which we are pushed towards a center of controlling ourselves, of moderating ourselves, of our own mediation, where we not only thirst for our own repression, but we actively enjoy it. We enjoy our own repression. Repressing ourselves becomes something we become quite proud of, that we have that control and that setup. The way that this is done and why this is done and how this works is incredibly complicated, but the idea that a person needs to regulate themselves or control themselves is a little counter to how we know generally psychology working at a large scale group and gregarious level. But it does put everyone in a place of policing their own emotions, desires, and thoughts, and then gaining guilt significantly. There's a reason guilt is something in every fucking religion. Like, that's not to go Reddit atheists, because they're also retarded in their own way. But the reality is guilt and self-hatred and self-control and ascetic lifestyles is the tool of those in power. And this is Deleuze's micropolitics entirely. Goddard, stop asking it. I'm talking about it actively. Suresh, thank you for the $10. Very kind of you. One of the takeaways from Andor was anti-fascism needs funding. Robbing banks is heroic. What kept the rebellion going was Mon Mothma's filthy capitalist imperial money. Take my filthy imperial money. Thank you for the imperialist money. It's tough to remember, but people need to eat food, and every movement is made of people. Do you know how Mao won? By feeding people. Like, it sounds simple, and it is, like an idea. Making it happen, it's a different beast. But when you start teaching people that they shouldn't be hungry, or that they should be happy not being hungry because the capitalists are the ones doing that, then you start doing what other dictators have done, or what capitalists have done, because you're basically maintaining power by telling people they should be happy to starve. And no one should be happy to starve. Starving is bad, and we should be scared of it. Machnas! Thank you for joining, and welcome to the collective. So I think the idea of superheroes is anti-leftist. I think superheroes are reactionary, but they don't have to be depending on the story they tell. The idea of a great man doing things, I think, is reactionary. But again, how it's done is interesting. I think Peacemaker is actually not reactionary at all as a show. Of all the fucking things, I know it's John Cena in a fucking metal suit with a bunch of dick jokes, but it's actually non-reactionary. It's anti-reactionary. It's anti-fascist. It's an incredibly interesting show. The new Superman movie, I think, goes into this as well. The purity of things, how this is done, how we get narratives and people hating, and how these things work. It's a movie ostensibly about cancel culture and how it can be manufactured, but not that people are stupid for falling for it. It's really interesting overall, I think. New onset retinal vascular occlusion occurring acutely after vaccine has been described in recent literature. Tarot Destroyer, you're back. My eyes. No, not a thing. All right. 2 seconds. Probably gonna order pizza. Boys has some good stuff. I actually think The Boys, or the knockoff, the spinoff show is even better than The Boys, I think. Boys' early seasons are very good, but I think the spinoff show has done an exceptional job about really getting into how these things work or how powers work. I think it's incredible. But again, to go back, that is anti-revolutionary. To continue reading this, it gives course leverage over content they fund. No, it doesn't. So this is really tough because it makes sense. And we're intuitively wanting to read it that way, because if we come at it from the angle that that's what this language means, it's what this language means. This is literally how ChatGPT gets you to think that there's a person behind it, because if you're inclined to think there's intelligence, you will find intelligence. But the language in the contract does not do this. The language in the contract actually is explicitly that they're not doing this, and that you can't use chorus when speaking about political elements, because that's illegal. 501c4 is illegal to say that. It's illegal. It's illegal. And so again, if what they're doing is illegal, and let me put it this way, if that's what they're doing, what they did is illegal, and Taylor Lorenz blew the lid off that, and we will find out soon when that doesn't happen, because that's not what they were doing. Will anyone retract that statement or claim? No, because the language could be used that way. Which, by the way, if you've never been part of drawing up any significant contract or even signing a contract beyond rent or employment at some random store, that's not how law works. You don't have every eventuality written into a contract. You can't. You do what you can and you make do. It's really weird. I want to know what strings might be attached to that money, if any, so I can perform a more informed analysis of the content produced. Let's say this is the argument, and I can appreciate this. How does that help you? I mean, how does it help you? If scientific studies are coming out and you find out they're funded by big tobacco, right? Do you just go, okay, well, none of it's true? You can look at the study and you can actually figure out what they put in it and all of those things. So there's some level, maybe? Is that the kind of stuff we're talking about here, where a study that's revealing some scientific truth? Or are we talking about content where people are giving political opinions? I don't know of any content that was supported in any capacity that is anything but political opinions. How does knowing the money behind the political opinion change whether or not there's veracity to the opinion? Suresh, exactly. This is the thinking climate denialists use. Yeah, I think so. One sec. Big pizzas. Let me make sure Rob's up for. Yeah, there's just once. When you read an article or watch a video and you come away with an opinion that you like or don't like it, finding out the source of funding, I hate to tell you, is never going to change your opinion on that article. It will harden your opinion on the article. That's how it works. If you come away from an article, let's say you watch one of my videos and you're like, oh, that's interesting. Or that's stupid, like these people did. And then you find out I was paid by big dark money. Mr. Dark Money came to me himself and paid me. No one is going to change their mind because I'm not making arguments that necessitate any of that. You're either agreeing with me or not. If suddenly I was paid by big dark money, the people who already agreed with me would go, that doesn't change my opinion. People who disagreed with me would go, proof he's wrong. But it's not changing their opinion. They just begin using that moralistically to claim a reason why I'm wrong, which it's not. It's literally a logical fallacy. Like on its face. On its face. It's wild. It empowers content that is suitable for funding. It's pretty much the end of it. Yeah. I'm not getting funded for this, and neither is anyone doing more extreme content, because the selection is what dark money does. Selection bias versus persuasion bias. It doesn't persuade people, but it selects them and elevates them and puts them in a position of being able to speak to more people, make more content. That's what money does. I want more money going to lefty causes. Like Hammer Hope's amazing shit. More, please, dear fucking God, give me more of that. That's like, I think they put like 150K into them, because I think if you dig, you can find, because their funding sources are public because they are a nonprofit 501c3. They're not a 501c4. So you can find out how much money was put in. Chorus, by the way, would have to do some level of revealing amounts of money, but not who. Just so you know, that's how 501c4s work. We won't need to know who, but we will know how much. You don't get to go, hey, I get free money forever and I have a bottomless pit of money. Again, everything's a conspiracy when you don't know how shit works. Chomsky's manufacturing consent has come to mind. Ironically, here we're pushing for funding to be more asymmetric. I mean, that is the deal. Lots of one second. Heather's ordering pizza. Lots of pepperoni. Marx was funded by Engels. Again, purity works for you when you're a poor person or when you're a person who's independently wealthy or whatever your position is that enables you to be where you're at. You can be as pure as you fucking want. The rest of us who actually have to integrate into the world and deal with things, it works differently. Pineapple on pizza, yeah, can be. Yeah. My favorite pizza I've ever had. I wonder if they still have it. 1 second. It sounds disgusting when I say it, so I want to make sure I can at least get a picture of the pizza. It's a real thing. This is in Los Angeles. I don't think this exists anywhere else in the world. It may now, but I don't think it did. I think I would say, is hot Cheeto pizza. So this is going to sound disgusting, and it probably is, like as I'm saying this. But I love, and there's a few places in LA that do it, but it's a mac and cheese Cheeto pizza. So it's regular pizza, but also mac and cheese on top of it, also with hot Cheetos. That's not Burger King. See that? There we go. So you eat it all at once. It's phenomenal. I got it for my birthday one year. That's Cheeto pizza, mac and Cheetos. There we go. They dust it. This is one of the places they dust the crust with it. It's great. I'm lactose intolerant now too. I have some level where I can get away with it, or I just, like today, just accept it and know that I'll be paying for it later tonight. So be it as a thing. But at the end of the day, money allows. Money enables. It doesn't change. Bro, it's in the fucking contract. Nothing is in a contract for no reason. Get real. Love that. It's not in the contract. Bruh, they've shown screenshots. Stop coping. And they haven't busted is even crazier. See, this is, yes, a Democrat group that is funding people who are deeply anti-Trump has apparently been found breaking laws. And they haven't been busted. Because, Trump is very famous for not abusing these systems. They are for when they want to. Most clauses in contract don't get used. They are for when they want to. Again, I don't know Hegel's critique of The Beautiful Soul. It's been a long time. I'm surprised by your take here. Do you really think capital will fund the revolution? Yes. Capital, literally it did in all the places that revolutions happened. Like, they've ended poorly, but capital literally funds things. How would you have a revolution without any money? Like, I don't understand how things work at that point. I literally can't. So let me say again, if you can think of a way that makes sense, that a revolution, that people can get together and at large do a thing that wouldn't require allocating any capital, I'm all ears. In that sense, didn't feudalism fund the revolution? Well, feudalism never really existed, but yes, mercantilism actually, and capital actually funded the revolutions against the kings. That's the American Revolution was funded literally with land loans. Like that they did. This is how, if you don't know, America was funded. Like there was loans taken out for the revolution. That was a thing that happened. It's always happens. It happened in Haiti. Like money is used for these groups. They're funded by people. That's how it's always happened. Isn't it tiring between switch 24 accounts just to spam relevant chats? No, these people never get tired. An old dude told me that when Jesus comes back, there'll be worldwide communism. That would be lovely. Revolutions, though, grow on trees. I like that. It's perfectly legitimate to be concerned about performative progressives posing as independents, getting shady funny in a manner that batters pretty much benefits only the DNC. I don't get this. I actually don't understand how this is true. I actually don't understand. And if someone could help me here, if you can show up, I like your profile pic. It made me smile in memories, but your argument misses the point that this is the point in that people can criticize this scheme at the same time be aware of the methods right-wingers have been using to consolidate power. That's like irrelevant to my point. That's like irrelevant to my point. There's an important point in knowing the financial ties of supposedly independent media. Why? That helps with the assessment of credibility. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. As it's also part of what you call critical engagement. Then you wouldn't listen to Marx. Marx was funded by independently wealthy capitalists. Marxism is literally capitalists paying for studies. Do you not like Marx? I guess people don't like Marx. That's fine. I take, for example, U.S. aid funding. Oh, for fuck's sake. Of independent media across the third world, which now is well understood to be an asset to advance imperialist goals. Sure. Did U.S. aid... Okay. They funded U.S. aid. What does funding U.S. aid mean? So USA was funded at large as a propaganda outlet. Sure. The people who were funded and put in those positions were selected as being pro-USA. Yes. How is that the same thing? I don't understand it at all. Secondly, the USA networks that were putting on generally pro-US content. Sure. How is that content the same as these guys who literally mostly make videos about how the DNC is broken and they want it changed? They see shitty candidates like Torres. I'm not a fan of Torres at all, but like that's a disagreement. That's not pro DNC. The DNC is great. The leadership should stay the same. Even Torres could be too radical. Torres is too radical for these people because he wants change too. He wants to move more towards a different type of populism. I don't get it. That's not the same thing as like USAID. It's such an extreme example. But again, the reason it's problematic and the reason the USAID, first off, everyone knew from the beginning USAID was what it was. But those media outlets that they're putting there, do you think the media outlets like are the thing that did it? Or is it more or less just another very, very underfunded, simple thing of pro-US content that actually is not the primacy, but instead business interests are? And the business interests which fully change the material conditions that people are living within the type shifted things. Or do you think it's a radio station? You end up with a kind of moot criticism that only seeks to excuse the end. It's not excusing anything. We can all live under the system. I mean, we are. It's not a can. Yeah, we all live under the system. Yet people still choose to make critical choices within it. People who are independently wealthy or already have money are saying that they won't take dark money. It's a feather in your cap. I don't give a fuck. People who are poor and have no money and are refusing to take money, I'd be suspicious of, but I guess a little kudos to them that they're doing the thing. I thought it was great that Bernie Sanders wouldn't do dark money in his personal campaign. If you didn't know, dark money groups supported Bernie Sanders. I hate to break it to you. It wasn't in the campaign, but they still spent on behalf of him. They do that. I don't get it. How can there be no agency for people that take the deal when many did not? This is why it's a moralistic critique. First off, we don't know anyone who didn't take the deal or refused it. The closest we come is Booker, and she's very upfront that it's because she was only offered $250. She wasn't offered enough, she didn't take it. By the way, good on you, you are worth way more. She is. Her fucking content's solid. But like, one just has to look at Pac-Man within that list. By any stretch, he's not just getting by. Pac-Man, again, was paid as a mentor not someone to be treated by the project. This is the challenge of the whole thing. And I respond, I said, enjoy being proud that you cared about funding sources, because that's it. Why do you think I'm proud? I'm just pointing out the flaw in your argument. If you're aware of the consequences of Citizens United, still miss the point on the attempt to manufacture consent at play here, I think you have quite a big gap in understanding. Maybe you are the one proud of running Defense for Independence. I know he meant to probably spell that better. Relying on DNC funds. It's not DNC funds. Again, the way people talk about this is language that's loaded. It's why I talked about gossip columnists and the way Taylor Lorenz writes that's this. The language is inexact, emotionally charged, and poisoning the well. It always is. No one is, if they're taking it bit by bit, like from the ground up, you don't end in the same place. You have to start from the position that it's DNC money, even though it's not. Multiple things that this group, the 1630 group is funding, has completely undermined the DNC across the board and their stated positions by being more left than the DNC in a ton of ways. The DNC hasn't fought for ranked choice voting. 1630 has put millions of dollars behind it. It's almost like this isn't DNC money. Weird. And also, well, assuming that's the other thing. And also, for all of the NDAs everyone had to sign, boy, I guess none of them had to sign it, because we literally have people named who got the contract, which, by the way, you generally have to sign an NDA before a contract, which is weird that this, it's here. Let me just share all these group chats that I'm clearly the person that Taylor's naming as where they're coming from and who the person is. What the fuck? What the fuck? Just realize I offered no counter argument. And no, I didn't in that. I think it's silly that people are going to be basically very proud that they didn't take dark money as they watch more concentration camps get built. Take all the fucking dark money you can if you're against if you're against concentration camps and citizens sold. I don't give a fuck if you're a right winger who's against concentration camps and the violation of American sovereignty, citizen sovereignty by the military. Give them money. I don't give a fuck. Why do I think Bernie lost in 2016? Because a lot of people are scared to vote after Obama for real change because of everything that he did. And there's a practicality that Bernie didn't give, that I think large voting blocks were much more interested in going with what seems like the standard bearer. Honestly, here's a question for you. If Bernie had said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to change any of my positions. I'm going to come in. I'm going to care about all these things, but I'm going to take every last dollar of dark money I can get because I don't give a fuck. I fucking hate Republicans. Eat shit. I'll take billions of dollars. I think he would have won. I think that's a thing. I think money matters a lot here, and money matters a lot in these things. I'm not watching this vid. I already know what it's about, but I had to say the thumbnail is absolutely insane. Thank you. You don't mean it that way, but thank you. Yuval, thank you. Breath of Revolutionary Air. Do I care if someone's funded by the DNC? Fuck no. Do I care about how those funds are spent in critiquing wasting these resources? Yes. I don't think this blowback has been about purity testing. See, again, because it is. Just to say, it is. It has been for a lot of people that these aren't the good Dems, this is the bad Dems, this is the blah, blah. But when you write inexactly and you poison the well like Taylor writes, you end up in a position where people are taking everything from it. Like this is 100%. And this cool commenter, I'm not, if this was the critique, I'm behind it. I think that's even what I wrote. If this was the critique, I'd not have made a video. It was literally what I wrote here. It's a clear rejection of the status quo actors. Association with those failed efforts does put a black eye on those related, especially if they just follow in failed footsteps. But they didn't. Like, this is the thing. What is the failed footsteps? What is the association with that? There isn't one. There really isn't. Is 1630, New Venture, and all these, it's an international group. They give money everywhere, huge amounts of it to major things that are not in the DNC, but they're not a DNC controlled thing. They're really not. Primarily, it's actually external to the US money and wealthy persons' money who aren't directly involved in the DNC. So what is the thing? Well, they went out and they were like, okay, we're going to do this for 6 months. So if the critique is, and I'm okay with this, hey, Packman and Cohen, they're not the people to be doing this because they don't understand how to do proper political populist rhetoric. They do slop. I'm in agreement. Then the question is, can we take that new idea and go apply for a grant and do that? That's what I would argue for. But to say no, now, no one's going to do that. No one's going to do that. Like, this is the fun part of the moralizing. It's why it's moralizing. Because let's say I go and I get a grant to do that. Then I'm bad or just trying to make my point or already corrupt. No one's going to listen to me who's new. Or I already have the people who are on my side. No one cares about what I do with that because I've already done the thing that I'm arguing with just to prove myself right. It's bullshit. That's why it's all bullshit. It's like the biggest reason. It's insane. I think I replied to that one already. There we go. There's no reason to believe chorus influenced content. Brother, come the fuck on. No, you get to show me. You get to show me. Don't just insinuate. You literally watched on stream the other day, one of the influencers describing how they got on a course app every day with a curated list of topics to address and how to address them. That's not what she said. What she said is that they do an everyday news brief of here's the stuff and here's how we're talking about it. And by the way, show me. Show me that, one, I can show you where David Packman and her didn't address it the same way on those days. You can go look at that yourself. So you can go see that's not the case. But secondly, being told about the news every day and having a large group discussion with 80 to 90 people, with people who are very plugged in, put me on that. Make that Chorus should have made that shit public. You want my fucking critique? Everything Chorus does should be public. And I mean their content. I want to see how to make fucking thumbnails. I want to know how to do things better. I want to see the news every single day. What are the 10 things we should talk about? Because there's a lot of shit. And it's really tough to parse on the outside. Watch Kid in his streams. He's trying to parse and he ends up focusing on one or two things because we have to. Fucking what the fuck is going on here? What is your point? Describing how to get on a course app every day. First off, there's not a course app. There's a fucking Zoom meeting with a curated list of topics. I expected a lot better from you based on past content. Granted, it was philosophy based, but this still, you're a mile off. Reporter, for real? It's like watching a Trumper talk. Are you on the deal with Chorus? There you go. Otherwise, I can't understand your position. I know. To be clear, you misidentify the problem. Moral purity is far from the issue. The issue is work towards neutering you voices into slowly becoming. Okay. To be clear, you misidentify the problem. Moral purity is far from the issue. The issue is the work towards neutering voices into becoming clones slowly of Brian Taylor Cohen, by extension the DNC. That's Chorus. It's a losing strategy until the article done 99% in secret. It wasn't. They all talked about what Chorus was going to do. The website showed it. The website existed and we can show when it happened. And again, if you think Ali, the voice I showed, and other voices are clones of BTC, I just showed the military guy. His content isn't remotely like these other guys or even about the same thing. Booker, not the same thing at all. We know this. These are the things we can see materially. So, no. Just came across this video and channel. Good take. Well, see, there we go. Circular firing squad on the left is terrible. It is awful. We need a movement willing to accept impure, to meet actual people where they are. FDR literally passed the New Deal by compromising with segregationists. That's, by the way, true. If you didn't see, I loved this earlier. Other people are making my point for me very well. See that sentence? The New Deal passed because he allied with segregationists on its passing. Segregationists are really deplorable people. We need to take yes for an answer. As long as we get our hands on policy levers, we can do big things. This is a person who understands how things work. It's great. I'm UBI pilled sock dem. It's a sock dem. Fucking every time. There's no one on the real left who's like this. It's so frustrating. I like to pitch my ideas as being of individual freedom and agency. See, I don't agree with these things at all. But hey, I'll stand side by side. My hands in his. My hands in his. Basil the Bacterian. Is that Harrison? That was you just now. The 4th century saint. I don't. No one knows who this is. And here's Cosmo. This is why I was responding to Cosmo earlier. Wow, this is awful. Easily the worst take. If I wrote down all my issues, I'd fill it up. I'll organize my thoughts a bit better on the Discord. Would love to hear others' thoughts, but this critique is coming off really all over the place. Weirdly moralizing and condescending. The offhand dismissal of the Kendrick Drake. Oh yeah, the Kendrick Drake thing. I was not dismissing the Kendrick Drake discourse. Was sort of when I knew this was going down an uncomfortable path. Like, I know we come from different cultures. I didn't know Cosmo. I'm going to assume Cosmo is black then. Although it would be really, really interesting if Cosmo was like French Canadian. And it was like, you don't understand Drake's culture. I'd be fascinated. I'm going to bet not. Mine's not for you to dismiss as mere gossip just because you can't follow a beat, which is rude. Really rude. I talked at length about Kendrick and I took sides, for God's sake. And I talked at length about the cultural reality of what Kendrick was doing and how it was important. And I stand Kendrick, and I always have. So, and I think Drake sucks. Kendrick Drake, did we watch the same video? It's a brief mention. The implication is that Dot and Drake reporting is part of disempowering mass. I mean, it makes you think you're making change. So you put energy into it. Gossip and drama and bullshit back and forth are so fucking attractive. And the system is built to reward that kind of content really, really well. It is so hard not to make that shit even by accident. Look at this channel. Some of our most popular shit, most of the biggest ones, is drama baiting as cover for philosophical discourse. And the rest is just not sexy. I'm from active and the system into it. Gossip and drama and truth. Expends. Where do I mention? It's like yourself with or against narratively. That doesn't matter. None of these details matter. Lorenz's background, my background. So yeah, and then where's actually fucking? I'm just gonna actually go in the fucking transcript. It's super early. God damn it. It's about parasociality. That's not even related to the point. God damn, I hate this shit so much. 436. There. Kind of bullshit. Are parasocially attached to... This was me talking about how Lorenz makes everything personal and makes people personal. I was actually not knocking... Oh, Jesus Christ, Cosmo. This is like the opposite of what I was doing. It's... Granted, I probably just didn't say it clear enough, but my point was those things in the same way. So, and she is ultimately, and always has been, a gossip columnist with aspirations for more TMZ type shit across the board with a tech edge. And it's done like this in these gossip columnists because they're talking about Cosmo, I'm making your goddamn point, and I don't think you even saw that. It's so frustrating to me. I didn't write this well enough, I guess, but God, this makes me mad. About the interrelationships of people, and people who care about this kind of bullshit are parasocially attached to those things in the same way. So when you write, you kind of want to incite the passions of the reader to hate Drake or Kendrick or Depp or Heather. The point is that the stories were written, and they were, especially in white media. You know what? I'll be explicit here. White media, by and large, not always, but white media wrote about it as a rap beef between two people. And it wasn't. That's my point. And black media got this right kind of everywhere. Like there's a lot more going on and a lot more under the surface. But the gossip rags made it about person versus person. And they tried to make it and incite people by making it Kendrick did this to Drake. Drake did this to Kendrick. Which, it ain't about that. But the language incites people. The more going on is huge. I can't imagine Cosmo would disagree with that. That was my point. That was literally my point. I wasn't saying that it was just gossip. My point is that it's written in gossip rags as being that. So that way people can jump on the bandwagon and hate Drake for a week or hate K-Dot for a week if you want. Like, what the fuck? That's my point. I'm not saying that Kendrick versus Drake was, well, you know what? Kendrick versus Drake was a lot more, but the way it was utilized by mainstream media, I think it co-opted black culture significantly and minimized the importance of everything. It is gossip, but it is gossip when it is like, oh, but did Kendrick do this or that? There's more happening culturally there. Black pundits super covered it differently than white pundits. And again, not everywhere. Everything's a gradient. There's no black or white. But white mainstream pundits, it was straight up like two guys in a fight. It was like a wrestling match. Black pundits talked about the coastal realities because people in these spaces tend to be a lot more aware of the weird alliances or the way that people interact with each other or the way that these groups sort of filter down and who's involved in all of this. There's like a lot more of a drama soap opera, but structural thing happening that I think is about co-opting race and ethnicity. And I think there was a lot of commentary. I mean, Kendrick made it straight center of what he was saying, but at the heart of what he was doing, there's a lot of that. I think there's a lot of conversations like that. Yes, genuine versus disingenuous. That again, I'm not saying 100%, but did you watch TMZ's coverage of it? It was not about that at all. That was my point. Gossip mags utilize it in specific ways, and TMZ gets way more views than FD Signifier, who I don't even like really most of their content. There's a good video on it that really goes into the depths of like the stories and how this stuff really matters and why, and in like really crazy fucking rabbit hole detail. There's good stuff written in a lot of ways, but TMZ doesn't do that. TMZ is garbage. They put out garbage. This article I'm putting up against that for the same exact reason. It's written in the style of TMZ. A lot of people didn't do TMZ style articles everywhere. That's not the setup. That's not the thing. Ugh. So frustrating. FT is a good documentarian. Yeah, FT is interesting. Generally speaking, not good when it comes to theory shit, like at all. There's a thoroughness to the documentary side of things that I can appreciate. The critical thinking in theory is really lacking. And it's frustrating. What about it was beyond the interpersonal feud? Well, that's the part that's awesome, is that it was interpersonal, like almost for them, if you just had them in a vacuum, yes, they just were interpersonally at each other's throats. And probably for them, they probably felt otherwise in various ways, but like the reality is it meant like the type of music and rap and culture that was being determined by at-large pop music. One of the things that's changed, when I was growing up, the music scenes, rap as an example, it was very coasty. And we'd go through like phases of coastality. I don't know how else to put it. I was in Denver. So I was very like in the center of a lot of those waves. If you were West Coast, tended not to switch over. Midwest tended to stay Midwest, East. But for a lot of other people like me, you'd have these waves of like, oh, this year it's this shit. This year it's fucking, oh, DMX and a bunch of guys. And then, oh, no, wait, it's we're back to the West Coast again. And this kind of waves would have a lot of effect as globality sort of took over. And as it became, everyone's on Spotify, everyone's here, the coastality of it is, I think, shifted, and the dynamics of what that means in music changed. And Drake represented a very, I don't want to speak too much on this because it's not my struggle or my battle, but Drake represented an inauthenticity that utilized it for clout. but then dismissed it when it wasn't needed. There's a thing Eminem used to do a little bit. And I think because, again, he's white, he had the ability to really play up black elements and then play them down when he needed to. Machine Gun Kelly, the white rappers, this is a thing that's been done for rock and roll artists from the beginning, who basically took a lot of black culture. They would play up the blackness because it's cool, sexy, different, exotic, or rowdy, or popular, or cool with the kids. Cool with the kids. It's cool with the kids to be anti whatever. And then at some point they'd go, but actually, no, I'm not really like that. And then they'd be white. Elvis is a great example of this. Very early on, playing up and then very much playing down as he got older. But that thing, having Drake do is really weird. Having Drake do it is really weird. But with that is also, I think, and it's I think I would love to have someone who's like, if anyone knows, someone had to have done a video from this perspective, queer black perspective, because sexuality and how it's handled in rap also has changed in some time. Tyler, the Creator, being a major part of this, but others as well. And so the weird hypermasculinity that is put on by, I would argue, Drake, versus a grounded masculinity, which I don't necessarily think either are healthy. How they interplayed and how they worked, I think, also is part of it. The complexities of these things and what it meant to what is ostensibly and still is a deeply black cultural element of rap. I think all of these things are like at the center of what people felt when they were getting into it. Not everyone. Most people, probably not. Most white people especially. But I think there's an aspect of that. I was having a conversation with friends about it who, like, they're rap guys from LA, and they really are, I don't want to name names, but they very much saw something more in Kendrick than just Kendrick. And it was very much in this direction. It's really interesting. And Kendrick being the center of it, I don't think matters. I think it again, this is the person. It's not about the person for most people. It's about what he seems to be at large, which I'm more interested in, because I think that's a lot more interesting than the idea that Kendrick is a piece of shit in any way. I don't care. I'm not a big author fan. I think people are interesting, but everyone can be a dickhead. I think it's fascinating. Well, Cosmo, because we got to your comment and I had to respond. My response is, because now that you've said what you've said here, I will tell you, it might be just my poor writing. That is not what I meant or intended to get across at all. It's why they're in different sections and intentions. You leave for 45 minutes and I've only been on for 15 and you got like another 4 or 5 minutes for me. Then I've got to go because I'll be done here and we can have a larger discussion. But here's the short version, Cosmo. I bring up Drake and Kendrick. I don't refer to him as K-Dot. I know, whatever. But I bring up Kendrick and I bring up Drake because the way gossip people, and I mean gossip people, not everyone, I was specific for a reason. The reason they bring him up is to make it about him versus him. They bring him up as people and individuals, and they make it that to that. TMZ literally did this, and I would say a large scale of white YouTube did this as well. Not everyone. Again, there's gradients. I saw black creators really doing this, like jumping hard on Drake as a person and making it about him, when there's more cultural realities and things happening that are obfuscated by that. And I did content on the fucking thing at the time. I registered because I hated Drake so much. I registered rapretard.com and forwarded it to his Wikipedia page. I'm not a fan of the guy. Okay. Just not a fan of the guy. But it's not the guy. It's what he kind of is in rap. And that's what I've been talking about. It's like he represents something of an inauthenticity. I think Kendrick is more authentic. I think he has problems, but he represents and plays more towards that. Okay. My point is that when we talk about person to person, when we write articles, and you can go read articles about the Kendrick and Drake feud, they will come in two flavors, generally speaking. You will find people who are using a lot of colorful language about Kendrick or Drake or both. That is making it about them. Then you have people who write longer articles or longer pieces or talk at length about how it's not really them, how they're signifiers of something more. And I even mentioned FD Signifier's piece on it, which I think was actually pretty good, that goes into it. There's a lot more there. But gossip writers do not give a fuck about the Black experience or what Kendrick or Drake actually represent in the larger thing. To them, it's a wrestling match between John Cena and John Cena Jr. Oh, it just happens to be, oh God, we care about, they don't give a fuck about the rest of it. And Taylor Lorenz's story is written in a way that does that. It personifies Chorus as a thing. The creators, a thing. DNC, a thing. Dark Money, a thing. Which none of them are. None of them are personalities. None of them are individuals. Brian Taylor Cohen, when mentioned, is as much a person in that piece as Drake is in that feud. That ain't the point. They represent more. And if you understand that, then we're on the same page. I certainly didn't mean to, and certainly would never say that the whole setup between the two guys was just like some gossipy shit. The opposite. My critique is actually that, sadly, sometimes it is just gossipy shit because of how shitty fucking writers, like people who write for Wired, to be frank, write. There's so much more to talk about. And here, there is too. If you want to talk about Brian Taylor Cohen, if you want to talk about these other people, you can. At any fucking point, we can talk about them. Great. I don't care. Do you want to talk about the systems and create them and critique them? That's the deal. We can critique all of this. But if you want to shame them as people who did bad things, and people who do bad things are on the side of that, and these people are all allied, I disagree. The Chorus people at large, we don't even know the names of. But the people we do, most of them are not pro-DNC. In fact, I would argue none of them are. Some of them are for a normative position towards the DNC, but none of them make content that's like the DNC is infallible. I didn't see any of that. I didn't see pro-DNC content except for like really vapid, stupid shit. But, you know, 2 of the 90, if that's what you're going to pick, it's not making a fucking good case for me. You're right about those two sides. Fascination with personalities, discourse on the culture. That's what this is to me. This is personalities and not discourse across the board. Give me Kendrick. He's the GOAT. Oh, no. I made a VR project. This is a true story. I made a VR project expressly to be able to go into Universal. Is it Universal? Don't care. I was taken there by someone else who knew guys who knew guys. And to sit with Kendrick's team, to show him a piece I'd made that we were trying to build into a larger VR thing. It's a real story. And they put on their VR headsets. I got to sit with Kendrick's team. It was one of the coolest things I got to experience in my life. It was like, oh. And the people, I can't say who they were because there was NDAs signed, but there were people there. I was like, oh shit. Oh shit. And it was, I know I don't look like the guy who like really has a pretty significantly large background in rap at various levels. I do. It was amazing. Again, when we talk about these things, is it that everything has a personality and is set up, or are we in a place where we just want to ostracize a person for being bad because this person we don't like, I don't like that person, I don't like this person. And when I watched Majority Report's piece, let's bring it up fucking right now. Like this was, I found this to be just, to me, why did I not write report? I'm nearing the end of my time, everyone. Come on. Yeah. Vigland eviscerates Brian Taylor Cohen. That's what I'm seeing everywhere. That's the shit that's fucking gross to me. That's the shit that's gross to me. And let's get to chorus. I found this just to be super gross, the way that they handled this across the board. Was it 6 days ago? Might have been more recent. We'll watch this and then I'll be done.
Realm.
The Wired story.
Hopefully it's a joke.
Oh, come on. Where did the video go? Did they take it down? Was it in a live stream then? God damn it. What is wrong with me? Why am I not able to find this? Let's see. So, well, maybe it was a few days ago. That's fine. Let's go look. Ah, here it is.
Protein.
So here's her reading the article. Here's Emma, who I adore. I think Emma done amazing work, and I was so fucking happy when she joined the Majority Report. In fact, everyone involved in the Majority Report, I kind of love. Like, I think they do great work. I've been a Majority Report. Like, I owe Sam Cedar for turning me because I happen to think Janine Garofalo is hot, so I listened to his original show. And Sam, who not as attractive at the time, was interesting. Like, I owe comedy for turning me left.
$1,000 a month.
But as we listen, you tell me at any point where the critique is, or if it's just naming people and shaming them.
To take part in a secretive program aimed at bolstering democratic messaging on the internet. But the contract sent to them from Chorus, a nonprofit arm of a liberal influencer marketing platform, came with some strings. Among other issues, it mandated extensive secrecy about disclosing their payments and had restrictions on what sort of political content the creators could produce. I wonder if Palestine is like a little bit...
Right there, right to it. There's nothing even in the article. But that's because, again, this is how Taylor wrote this. This is how it was written.
Do not go there kind of deal.
You're going to see me with a really nice watch, and I'm going to be like, I won't endorse Zoran until I have a constructive conversation with him.
They all back Zoran. Almost everyone back Zoran and like Zoran, and multiple of them did major pieces on him. This feels like, and it felt at the time, like Emma was handed this to read and is just reading it and reacting and has not, like, is just going with the language. Again, this is why Taylor's writing is shit and why I hate it. But this is gossip responses. These aren't substantive critiques. These aren't noticing anything culturally happening. These are gossip responses.
And community-based constructive conversation. The folks that were, I guess, in this kind of group of influencers that...
And Cosmo, I don't know Eric Hansen, but reach out to me on Discord. I love doing guest lectures and talking about VR to developers. If you're actually doing virtual reality stuff, I would adore it.
This thing called the Chorus Creator Incubator Program, funded by a powerful liberal dark money group called the 1630 Fund. They included I don't know what that means. The program kicked off last month, and creators
it's very disappointing.
Involved were told by Chorus that over 90 influencers were set to take part. Creators told Wired that the contract stipulated they'd be kicked out and essentially cut off financially if they even so much as acknowledged that they were a part of the program.
Is the Majority Report pseudo-leftist? No. Here's the thing, and I mean this. These people are very much leftists. These people care about emancipatory politics. Every single fucking one of them. Everyone fucks up, and everyone has their own resentment they don't recognize. Everyone has their blind spots. Everyone. It includes Sam, it includes Emma, it includes Matt, that includes fucking all of them. This is one of those that you read and you're tired and you do your thing. And you can hear her say, I don't know what that means. Like, stop talking about it then. But you've got to get the news out because, hey, guess what her job is? Guess what she's paid to do? To do this. It's probably pulling every single thing she can. Like, in order to keep doing this. But she has to, or she loses her job. She loses her money. So she has to do this. You want to talk about money incentives? That's the shit. You're a Mr. West fan, aren't you? Adam West was wonderful. I think he was one of the more talented Batmans we don't talk about. And I do not debate people. Got her. No.
Some creators also raised concerns about a slew of restrictive clauses in the contract. Influencers included in communication about the program, and in some cases on an onboarding session for those receiving payments from the 1630 Fund, included Olivia Juliana, the centrist Gen Z influencer who spoke at the 2024 Democratic National Convention, Lauren Peretra, a former Playboy executive, I've never heard of her, hosts the Occupy Democrats podcast. At least it has Democrats in the title where you kind of know what you're getting.
Like, this is where it's like, again, Occupy Democrats is not Democrats. I mean, it sort of is. It's just frustrating to hear that. Basically, Occupy Democrats, which is a political group now, and a media outlet, is left-wing. And they are basically trying to be a Tea Party for the Dems. They're not a like, to say this is democratic institutionalism is fucking weird. But again,
Who's
gossip.
listening?
I don't know.
Occupied by Democrats?
You don't know who they are and the work they do. And that's actually really, really sad. Here are the people who did it. They were accused of having raised almost $800,000 for its election fund, donating none of it to federal candidates. Omar Rivero claimed the fund operated as a super PAC and was barred from donating to candidates because they are a 501c4. Axios journalist said the election fund was actually a hybrid PAC and could donate. That the work they do is fine. It's not great, but they're not like partisan. They're partisan, but they're not like pro. It's very weird.
Barrett Adair, a content creator who runs an American Girl doll themed pro DNC meme account.
Here's $8,000 a month.
Seems.
So that's the fun part. When what you do is, as Taylor, you take from the biggest names, the ones that can be easily most made fun of. How about Allie? Allie's not in there. She's large enough. She's not giant. That pro-American Girl meme account is an American Girl account primarily. It does doll shit. It's a doll channel. It also does political stuff because the person leans lib.
Seems made up.
Yeah, it's an incredibly popular account.
I don't know.
Occupied by Democrats?
Barrett Adair.
Let's find them. I have it in my history somewhere, but I have a lot in there. Is that Barrett? I think this is Barrett. I actually think this is Barrett. Yeah, Hot Girl Instagram account. Yay. Anti-Trump shit. Let's see. Yeah, that's not going to be it. It's just, they're fine sized. Just, I don't get the hate these people give. I don't get the hate. I don't get it. It's like, so they're not, so the idea, that's a different person. August, send me a link. The American Doll account. Send me a link in Discord. I know you can. Let's see. Trying to go backwards. Oh, God, someone else is writing me. Yes, you have to go over the harms of dark money and how it shows up as being harmful at the end result. Sorry, I'm just responding to someone who's actively typing in chat. It's always fun when that happens. My least favorite thing. August, give me a fucking link to the American Girl account. You know what? I might actually bounce out here. Rob is going to be here in a moment, and Rob's lovely, but I'm not going to force him to come on stream if he's not ready for it. Let me see if anyone else is live. Let's see who we've got to send you over to today. It looks like Kid. Did Sunday go live? I don't think Sunday went live. I think it's going to be just Kid. He's on day 14. Yep, we're at 6 o'clock, so he's live. Good. We're going to continue this. Like, this is not going to be a thing that stops. This is apparently something that people have just generally really don't understand how politics, activism, revolutions, change come about. Because this is moral purity testing. That's all that's going on here. Otherwise, you'd not care that $400,000 was spent across 90 different accounts. Ooh, it's a lot of money. $400,000 is not $8,000 a month. Sure. But if you want to do that, you're also ensuring that there's no way for people to follow on and do it. And you're creating naturally a unwillingness in people to take money, because if they take dark money in any capacity, which I encourage everyone to do, because I don't give a shit, and I trust that you're not going to be an asshole. Please, if you believe in pro-Palestine work, do that. Greta Thunberg, do you think she doesn't take dark money? Do you think? If you can have a hugely negative piece written about you in Wired that doesn't actually have anything substantive in it, but just the possibility of possibilities, how do you feel? How do you feel at that point? Helicity. Okay, well, I mean, I've got to go back. We're going to look at this. This is not what I thought this would be. What the fuck is this? 200,000 fucking Insta followers. All right, we're going back for a moment to look at this, because this is not what I thought this was. It is an American. This is a doll themed account. Yeah, this is it. These are the American doll themed accounts. This is fucking insane. Oh, it's her. This is her account. So she's the one behind these accounts. That's that same. That's the one we just went through. So yeah, this is the right account. I don't have an account on Insta. Let me see if I can. I think I have a fake one. Give me a second. I think I have a fake one. Okay, not that one. Fair enough. That one's not real. Okay. Is that one real? No. No. All of those, I keep getting them deleted because I make fake accounts. The CEO of an electric company, after charging regular people, is such, this is fine. This is a meme account. Holy fuck. Like, this shit gets sent. What the fuck? Why would you be... What is wrong with this? What in the fuck is wrong with this? Like... If this is how you found out the new Taylor Swift... See, it's a trash meme account. What the fuck is wrong with this? I don't... If you would spend the money better, go get the money. Like, this is why it's a moralistic argument. I'm not going to log into my fake Facebook account, because the last time I did that, people reported it as fake and I had to get it deleted. So that's not happening. I got to go pick up a pizza. Hey, go raise money and spend it better. But if you're not going to go raise money, and if you're unable to, fuck off. Goddamn. Like, it's like, yeah, it's diversity of tactics. It's shitty meme accounts for fucking Zoomers, or like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck is wrong with all this? It's so fucking stupid. So stupid. I love you all. I will see you